play today. He may not play today. I don't know if they were interested in that. Yes, Ben texted me. Okay.
Game is presented by Villanova Business School. A beautiful day for a homecoming Saturday along the main line as two teams desperate to get back on the winning track meet up at Villanova Stadium. It's a battle of the Wildcats between New Hampshire and Villanova here on the Villanova Sports Network. And we welcome you high above the field at Villanova Stadium. Alongside Steve Pannone, I'm Ben Curtis. Glad to be with you. Tessa Pelosa will join us from the sidelines in just a few minutes. Already said, Steve, disappointing effort for both of these two teams. Losses last week, chance to get back on track this week.
Yeah, it's bounce back week for both these teams. It'll be interesting to see. I think the team that can get to a good start in this game is going to be really important because confidence is going to be a little shaken for both teams after the rough outcomes last weekend.
Well, let's jump right into it and start with the visitors, the New Hampshire Wildcats. They had a disappointing effort last time out against Rhode Island. They were forced into being a little bit too one-dimensional.
Yeah, they got down early, similar to Villanova, like we'll talk about. They got down late and punched in a late touchdown and fall 26-9 to the undefeated CAA Rhode Island Rams. So a good win by Rhody. They go on the road into New Hampshire last week and get a very good win.
But New Hampshire, dating back to last season, is 3-0 after a loss the next week. It's a team that knows how to bounce back.
Yeah, Ricky Santos has this group playing at a high level this year, and importantly, like I say, we talk about it a lot, but which team can respond the quickest? New Hampshire's had a history of doing that very well.
Well, and if they're going to bounce back, they're going to have to rely on their superstars, and that brings us to today's players to watch. They're presented by Mainline Health. Nobody better at disrupting in the backfields around the conference than Josiah Silver.
No, he's third in the country in sacks, and he's third in tackles for loss. That's an outstanding player. Villanova struggled to block the main front four last week. They're going to have to do a much better job against Silver today if they want to get the passing game going.
And speaking of one-dimensional on the other side of things, that's what Villanova was forced into in what was a shocking loss against Maine last week up in Orono, a 35-7 drubbing in which they really just never got anything going. They didn't score until the fourth quarter.
And what happened was, as you mentioned, they got one-dimensional. They got down, as you mentioned, 35-0, and they took the run game away from them. They were forced to make drop-back passes every time Maine's front four pinned their ears back and got after Connor Watkins in the second half.
They were forced into a total of just a 91 rushing yards gained, and they lost a lot on the ground as well, Villanova was. So looking to get something going. We saw a little bit of Tanner Maddox into the game at the end on the ground. But speaking of on the ground, Villanova has gotten a lot of success from their young rushers. Nobody more so than the freshman phenom from Maryland, David Abbott.
Yeah, he's on the Jerry Rice watch list as one of the top freshmen in the nation. Huge game against Stony Brook. Villanova record with 181 rushing yards against the Seawolves. We said just really deemed ineffective last week when Villanova got down so much they couldn't run the football. They'll try to bounce back today and get Abbott a bunch of carries.
See what the 2023 Maryland 4A Player of the Year is able to mount today against a New Hampshire team that is really stout up front defensively. It is going to be an intriguing contest and a huge win on the line as both teams look to push towards the postseason. And if either team is going to come up with a victory to get to the postseason, they are going to have to rely on their players that have mattered most. As we go down to the coin toss, we'll see who will start out with the ball.
The CAA logo on the helmet will be heads.
Man, I would think both offenses might want the football today. Just kind of get that bad taste out of their mouth from last week.
Yeah, we were speaking, Tessa Pelosa and I were with David Abbott earlier on this week. He said he wanted Villanova to start out with the ball just personally. And Villanova won the toss, but will defer to the second half.
So they'll be on defense to start. Wind is also a factor today. We'll talk about that a little bit in the kicking game. As the wind coming from the west, blowing west to east at probably, I'd say, a good 15 to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah, we expected earlier on this week, it looked like there may have been gusts up to 30 miles an hour. That's thankfully settled down just a little bit. But we're getting to that part of the year where winds start to matter a little bit more. It's a perfect homecoming Saturday. And that first autumnal chill is in the air, which means that it's time in the nation, dropping 8 spots in the latest national polls. Both of these teams very much in it in terms of the CAA overall standings, but neither can afford back-to-back losses here this week.
It's called, you got to be in the moment today. And then you talk about, like Coach Ferrani especially always talks about going 1-0 this week. And you can flush out a lot of bad feelings from last week if you play good, solid football today and come away with a win. The Wildcats would be 6-2 overall, 3-1 in the CAA. That's a pretty good feeling, as you come into November.
A great crowd on hand here on a homecoming Saturday along the main line. A perfect setting for football. 60 degrees, barely a cloud in the sky, and Villanova, who's in their home blues, will get set to go against New Hampshire, who is in the road whites. The 27th all-time meeting between a couple of Wildcats looking for a place along the top echelon of the CAA. And we are now underway between Villanova and New Hampshire here on a Saturday afternoon at Villanova Stadium. And it will go out for a touchback, and we will get the first series of the contest.
And Ben, you saw a little bit of the win there as Ethan Gedman, put that ball about 9 yards deep into the end zone. Normally his kicks are, in between the 5 and the goal line. That one carried an extra probably 10 to 12 yards.
Well, we expected Seth Morgan was going to jog out there to lead the way for UNH. He is not available today, and the Wildcats will turn to their third-string quarterback, Matt Vessa, not available either. So it's sophomore from Savannah, Georgia, Barry Kleinpeter, who gets the start. His career passing statistics, 1 for 5 for 9 yards. Yeah. He's going to have to step into a bigger role.
I think is dressed, but I think it's only an emergency situation that we'll see him, and I hope that Kleinpeter can run the offense, and I think you better look for a lot of run. There's a good move there by the back.
And it's going to be a pretty heavy dose of ground game, especially in the early going. You'd expect for this UNH team that will have to try to deal with the loss of one of their big players. Miles Thomason got the first rush, and it'll be a couple of yards. Barry Kleinpeter is a sophomore from Savannah, Georgia. He's appeared in a couple of games to rush. He's got a total of 36 yards in his career on the ground, 11 of them this season. But was a decent recruit coming out of high school. He was the Georgia Region 3A Player of the Year as a senior at Savannah Country Day School. So he does have plenty of talent. High snap, he's able to bring it back down. Another run along towards the left side, and Villanova right there.
Does a good job there containing the edge. That looks like Turner Inge making a start for Richie Kimmel at one of the linebacker spots. Pretty much no gain, and that brings up a third down. You can see multiple tight end packages from New Hampshire today. As Ben mentioned, Kleinpeter, I think, more comfortable running the football than throwing it. So I think they're going to try to do a lot of jumbo packages and just go with 2 and 3 tight ends and try to ground and pound here if they can.
And Kleinpeter are going to have to keep this UNH offense on schedule. A lot of these types of situations, 3rd and short, it's 3rd and 4, as Villanova tries to get off the field in the early going. Thomason remains the running back. Kleinpeter will throw for the first time over the middle and out of the reach of the intended target. That was in the direction of Caleb Burke. It was through his hands, a little bit too tall for the 6'1" junior.
Good pressure from the Wildcat defense. But Kleinpeter there with the first throw looked a little shaky. The feet were kind of a little jumpy in the pocket there, and he fires that one high and over the hands of Burke.
Sean Lahane is the punter for UNH today.
But we talk about this a lot, when you just choose to defer, when you can get a 3 and out, that just makes you feel so good, because now you're getting the ball to start the second half, and they didn't do anything with their offensive possession.
Villanova tries to get some field position here in the early going. A fair catch called for and made by Tanner Maddox, who will be returning punts. The backup quarterback for Villanova will hand things over to the starter. Connor Watkins has struggled in terms of the statistics so far this year. Watkins, under 50% completion rate, 49.7, just under 1,000 yards through the air so far this year.
A young offensive line and trying to work in some new receivers, so it's been a little bit of a challenge early on. The Wildcats would love to kind of find that rhythm offensively, but I think today you know, you talk about you'd love to get the ground game going that they were unable to do last week.
And as we said, less than 2 yards per carry on the ground, just 1.3 on the ground last week up in Maine. Abbott, or rather along the right side goes Devin Smith. It is a handoff and a whistle and a flag first.
It's probably a false start. It is.
False
So
start.
once again, a pre-snap penalty.
Number 5. 5-yard penalty.
It'll be Jalen Sanchez. The worst thing you want to see is one of your wide receivers just staring in at the football.
Villanova averages 6.5 penalties per game. Going to have to clean that up a little bit. They're going to come away with the victory. Villanova 5-2 this year. One FBS loss to Maryland at CQ Stadium a couple weeks ago. And then the loss last week up at Maine. But Villanova back here at home for the first time in nearly a month. 4 weeks ago, they took down LIU 24-10. They haven't played at Villanova Stadium since. A couple of games on the road and a bye. As Watkins will have to go behind the sticks, 1st and 15. And more motion before the snap.
False start. Offense. Number 76. 5-yard penalty.
Villanova going the wrong way.
Let's guard Chris McCullers, so that's going to put them back at 1st and 20. And this not going to make Coach Ferrante happy at all. They worked all week on just trying to clean up everything. Back to basics. Let's be sharp. And they can't even snap the football once, and you already got 10 yards worth of penalties.
Abbott is in the game as the running back. He'll split time with Isaiah Ragland. Isaiah Wright, Jabriel Mace also have gotten times on the ground for Villanova. But it's Abbott, the freshman star from Maryland, who gets the start on the left hip of Watkins. And it's a handoff to Abbott. Races right up the middle, ground and pound for a couple, maybe a gain of 4.
Yeah, that'll bring up 2nd and 16. You know, you just don't have a lot of plays for 1st and 20. You know, he's just trying to get settled. Now you're deep in your own end as well. You want to be careful with the football here. Now you got 2nd and 16. You'd love to pick up maybe 7-8, make it 3rd and manageable.
Abbott turned heads around the nation with a 4-touchdown performance a couple weeks ago at Stony Brook in a really good win against a good Seawolves team. He ran for 183 yards, including one scamper that went for 72. More pre-snap penalties against Villanova. That's 3 of them already.
False start. Offense. Number 78.
It's going to be Tommy
5-yard
Broderick,
penalty.
the left guard.
And each of those last 2 false starts against McCullers and Broderick to redshirt freshmen.
Yes,
Broderick out of Alpharetta, Georgia.
If you don't have a lot of plays for 1st and 20, you don't have as many for 2nd and 20. It'll be actually 2nd and 21. As Abbott picked up only 4.
This UNH defense, which can get after the quarterback, has Villanova backed up towards its own goal line. In motion goes Sanchez. He didn't get the transfer cleanly. And Sanchez,
yeah, there was a miscommunication there. Abbott ran into Sanchez. Just a miscommunication on that play. I think Abbott may have gone the wrong way as they tried a little. See him kind of running, trips up Sanchez. So not a great start here for your Wildcats.
A comedy of errors for Villanova that Mark Ferrante and offensive coordinator Chris Bowden won't find terribly funny here.
No, now it's 3rd and 24. Now you're running out of room for your punter.
Just trying to get anything back to get some room.
You probably see screen here, something like that, or it's going to go straight run to Abbott.
Right up the middle, Abbott trying to bounce it out to the left, up to the 11, and a gain of about 4, and that was not the first possession that either team's offense wanted.
And the Wildcats go for a negative net 10 yards.
Already 3 penalties for 15 yards against Villanova. They just never really seemed comfortable and in the first series, and so they'll punt it back.
Yeah, you commit 10 yards of penalties before you snap the football.
High snap as well off of the punt. They do get it away, end over end punt. And it takes a good Villanova bounce. That is a field flipper. It's fielded at the 15-yard line and out towards the 20, and only getting about that far
really
for
nice,
UNH.
Yeah, nice job by Ethan Gedman. He'll take the turf bounce as well, but this could be a game of field position. So a great job there by Gedman to flip the field position.
Joey Corcoran had to try to get as close as he can. He got past the 20, just getting going. No score. We welcome you back here to Villanova Stadium. No score between a couple of Wildcats. Villanova had to go exclusively on the ground last time out. And for more on the Villanova run game, we say hello to the third member of our broadcast crew, Tessa Pelosa.
Yeah, guys, I caught up with O-line coach Sean Devine this week and asked him about his O-line and things that they could correct going into this game. And he says, you know, we have a unique mix of experienced and inexperienced players. He said this younger group has a really big chance of being special this year. He said, but when you have unexperienced guys up front, he goes, each game presents new challenges. So we made those corrections this week in practice, watching film on Sunday, coming in, putting that into all of our drill work. And he said, at the end of the day, our mindset needs to be, we just need to play with some grit and strain and all that toughness. This approach this week is just hitting the reset button, guys.
Thanks so much, Tessa. Great stuff. We'll check in throughout the contest. Villanova and New Hampshire, both teams with identities that start with that ground game, but neither team able to get much of anything going on the ground so far in the first 4 minutes and change. Back to the air. Ryan Peter will actually take it himself.
It's a good job by Hartzell, keeping with his read there. It's kind of that read option. The end came then, and Hartzell filled the gap and got him to the ground after a short game, maybe two. Good job by Shane Hartzell here. You see him come. Watch him here. He's got his hands on his knees there. He comes, slides across, eyes up the quarterback, and gets the trip.
Came into today with 55 tackles, second most on this Villanova team behind only star graduate student Brendan Bell. So third down and long, and this is one of those obvious passing downs that UNH wanted to try to stay out of.
Let's see what the Wildcats, if they're going to bring pressure here against Klein-Peter.
Klein-Peter's 0 for 1 today. Targeted Caleb Burke on third down last time. Pressure does come. It's picked up initially, and now the ball's loose. Race for it on the ground, picked up by Villanova.
Huge play by Brendan Bell. I think he's the one who got the strip sack, and then he gets on top of the football as well. So credit him with a strip sack and a recovery.
Recovered by the defense.
They do rule it is a fumble, and Klein-Peter's arm wasn't going forward. The initial blitz was picked up, but then just too much pressure by this Villanova team, and a huge takeaway to kickstart the Wildcats.
Right through the inside gap, and he gets his left hand in on the quarterback, and then does a great job of just getting on top of the football here. Give the Wildcats a short field, be first and goal from the 10.
Went right past Luke Swain, the left guard. And Brendan Bell, the team's leading tackler, the team's leader in tackles for loss, with the biggest play of the day so far in a very short field.
The Wildcats got to punch this in and get 7 here. Isaiah Ragland in a tailback.
On the left hip of Connor Watkins, who is still yet to attempt a throw so far. And it's first and goal from the 10. And they'll hand it off, or rather they'll keep it with Watkins, and he goes right into the melee.
Yeah, that just play was just too slow developing.
Got one maybe. It'll be second down and still nearly the full 10 to go for Watkins and the Wildcats.
Yeah, really no gain at all. So 2 big downs coming up here for the New Hampshire defense as well. They'll take a win here if they can keep the Wildcats out of the end zone and force a field goal attempt.
New Hampshire has been really good in this part of the field. They are 8th in FCS in red zone defense. Opposition score on red zone trips less than half the time, just 42%, and that is part of the reason why they rally to the ball as well as anyone.
Once again, no gain at all.
24 trips to the red zone New Hampshire has allowed. Opponents have 16 total scores, including field goals.
I think, you know, this has got to be, I think, a throwing down, not a keeper there. Now you really put yourself at 3rd and 10.
Watkins in an obvious passing down has Abbott, or rather as Devin Smith split out all the way out to the left, has Ragland off on his right hip. That's Sanchez in motion. Play clock down to 10. Watkins will throw for the first time today. Now he steps up. Now he's on the run. Ball pops out right back to UNH, and a big-time shoestring tackle to make sure that off and running wasn't Ryan Toscano, but UNH takes it right back the other way. Turnover for turnover, and one of the best teams in the country in the red zone hold firm again.
Yeah, great job by the New Hampshire defense there. They get stuck with first and goal, and they come away and get the turnover here. Watkins just doesn't tuck the ball away. I think that was a strip sack by...
It was Silver.
Yeah, our man we talked about in the pregame show, Isaiah Silver.
One of the nation's best at disrupting, and he disrupted the best chance for Villanova to score first, and then it was picked up by Toscano in that big late tackle, because Toscano would have had nothing but green grass in front of him.
Yeah, a lot of green out in front of him. Josiah Silver with a good strip. Watkins just never got the ball tucked. So an opportunity goes awry for Villanova. First and goal from the 10. They come away with no points.
UNH with the 6th fumble that they have caused and taken back away so far this year. And now back for Klein-Peter and the rest of this UNH offense to kind of reset, bouncing it out back to the left side, and on the run along the left side goes Miles Thomason past midfield. Biggest play of the day offensively.
Yeah, he found a cutback lane. That play starts out to the right, and he just cuts it back off the backside tackle.
But it's going to come back.
More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Yeah, so the offense, one of the offensive linemen did not line up on the line of scrimmage.
A mental mistake from UNH to negate what would have been a gain of about 35.
Yeah, we've seen it now. These are pre-snap penalties for both teams that have cost them in a big way.
So it'll be first down and 15, and that's an even bigger one than I think a couple of the Villanova ones because it negates that big play. And so Klein-Peter and the Wildcats backed up a little bit more. Rick Santos, the coach for UNH, with some work to do offensively, and offensive coordinator Ed Borden.
Yeah, we talked about it with the backup quarterback, Klein-Peter. They don't want to get themselves in these kind of situations, 1st and 15 or 2nd and long.
Thomason in motion. They'll swing it out to him and skipped it to him.
Yeah, that
little
ball
short arm.
Just never got out to the receiver.
So it'll be 2nd down and 15 for this UNH team that averages 22 points per game. Their season high on the scoreboard was 45 that they put past Stonehill on September the 14th. The 4-3 record needs a little bit more context. One of those losses, the opening day loss to Big 12 team UCF, 57-3. Knights beat them in the bounce house. Just 2 losses to FCS opponents so far this year. Klein-Peter looking for more down that left side. High pointing the ball is Logan Tomlinson, and a big gain out towards the 40. Tomlinson, the graduate student from Manchester, Connecticut.
Yeah, we talked about it. They have good size at their wide receiver position. He just went over Dawood with his size, and as Ben mentioned, he just high pointed it at the high point of the ball and is able to get over Dawood to pull that down.
That's Tomlinson at 6'3", 212, just bullying the 6 foot even, 185 pounds, Amir Dawood.
And we didn't mention it. Ice Waxter was questionable. I've not seen him out there yet. He's on the sideline dress, so he might just be taking a series off.
Well, Tomlinson certainly wasn't, and UNH is in business out towards the 40. Getting ahead of steam is Thomason, getting towards midfield, and he's right near the marker. He'll have the first down.
He's a strong runner, and he's shifty in the hole too. He gets up to full speed quickly, and then he's really shifty when he's in the hole.
Had that big run taken away from the penalty, but Thomason's been the main runner so far today. Not much we've seen of Isaac Seed, the senior from Everett, Massachusetts, who's the leading rusher for UNH, but it's been all a steady dose of Thomason, the junior from Montclair, New Jersey. Just down the Jersey Turnpike and across the river from where we are here on the main line. Klein-Peter is 1 for 3 today with that 25-yard link up with Tomlinson. Back to the air, at least that's the thought, but getting there first is the Villanova defense.
Yeah, Ethan Potter on a safety blitz, and talking to Ross Pennypacker this week, he thought that they could come up with some blitz packages that would get home, and so far they've been effective in that. We saw Bell get the fumble and the recovery, and then you see Potter from his safety position come on a blitz and does a good job here to get in the quarterback.
2nd sack of the day for this Villanova front line. And again, those are even more important to back up the inexperienced quarterback.
Nigel McSween in there as well. Give him some credit.
Klein-Peter, the former 3-sport star athlete rather, in high school, football, basketball, and baseball, and he's rolling out to his left, and he'll take it himself, and he'll get past the original line of scrimmage, lower in the shoulder.
Yeah, so it'll be 3rd down and about 7.
Played varsity basketball and baseball. He was a switch hitter and shortstop and 3rd baseman, and he's done a little bit of everything, both the offense for UNH running and throwing.
Looks like Klein-Peter's more comfortable in the running game there. You saw him sprint out there and just get upfield more so than he is in the passing game. Ben mentioned, was it 5 or 6 career passes coming into today?
Yeah, he was 1 for 5 for 9 yards coming into play today in his UNH
It's
career.
an interesting formation. You think with 4 wide to the far side of the field.
And it'll be set up for a bubble screen for Thomason, who has a lane and has the first down and a little bit more. That's an excellent play design by Ed Borden.
And well blocked as well. And you get your best ball handler, your best runner, the ball out in space.
Thomason's been the hot hand. He'll head on off and get a breather. That's just smart to get an easy throw for your quarterback as well, get you in rhythm. So UNH with the ball getting towards field goal range. 1st and 10 on Villanova's 37. And into the game, Denzel Gibson. Wearing number 29 back behind Kleinpeter. And Gibson gets the call and barrels forward, going downhill for a gain of about 6.
He does a good job getting north and south.
Nick Mazie is the kicker for UNH. His season long is 52 yards. And to get him into field goal range, right about the edge of where UNH is right now.
So kicking into the wind, so that may knock a few yards off his distance.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking too. That's going to become a factor in case you're just joining us. UNH going into wind of about 15 miles per hour or so. Trips out towards the left for Kleinpeter. This UNH offense on its best series so far in the day. It's a designed keeper for Kleinpeter. He's got a lane. Kleinpeter down towards the 10, rumbling and bumbling down inside the 10 to about the 6. That's an excellent play design as well to get Kleinpeter in some space. Yeah,
they just spread out with the 4 wide. It takes 4 Villanova defenders to win. So once he's able to get through the defensive line, there's no safeties there. They're all over wide on the side of the field. Hartzell kind of overruns it. Now he's got a big gap.
And Denon Lamorris was leading the way as that lead blocker. The tight end finding a body to hit.
So that brings up 1st and goal. Let's see if the Villanova defense can make a stand here. New Hampshire was able to get a 1st and goal turnover.
Nova's allowed touchdowns on 59% of opponent red zone trips. Last week allowed 3 touchdowns on 3 trips to Maine. Right back to the ground for Thomason. He's repelled at about the 4. A gain of just 1. And that was one of the big issues for Villanova in that week, or in that loss rather, last week to Maine. First time all season that the Cats had allowed 3 trips and 3 touchdowns in the red zone. A little bit of a more jumbo package looking like it's coming up here for UNH.
They like to use multiple tight ends and just about anywhere on the field. Now you're down in goal line, you're going to see a lot of that.
And it's back to Gibson. A little bit bulkier than Thomason is. 5'10", 210 pounds against Thomason's 185 pounds. In motion is Peyton Strickland. Back on the ground they go. It's bottled up at around the 3.
Good job there by the interior of the Villanova defense. Now to bring up 3rd down and goal from the 3.
So far, Villanova holding strong with their heels up against their own goal line.
They're going to bring Thomason back in. I wouldn't be surprised they try to spread the field again and throw something out to him. Haven't had much luck in the interior of this Villanova line the last 2 plays.
Drew Danson, the tight end, will also join the fray. Big body at 6'3", 261 pounds. Thomas in the back, and the only receiver split out to the left is Logan Tomlinson. Now in motion goes Thomason along with Tomlinson. Kleinpeter takes it himself. Designed rollout towards the left, throwing back across his body, back of the end zone and out of the back of the end zone. And Villanova's defense holds firm, and the UNH Wildcats will have to settle for 3.
Yeah, I see the coaches over there doing the kicking signal. That means they're going to kick the field goal. So good job by the Villanova defense. 1st and goal at the 5. And they're going to hold them to a field goal attempt.
So for UNH, Nick Mazie comes out to try to get the first points of the day. Matt Guidebeck is the holder. Kevin Gallick is the long snapper. That's the operation for this UNH special teams crew. Mazie is 7 for 9, but this is more extra point territory than anything else. To give UNH the first points of the day, the kick is up and it is straight through. And UNH comes to Villanova Stadium and grabs the first points of the day. A 3-0 lead for the visitors in this Battle of the Wildcats in the CAA on the Villanova Sports Network.
At Mainline Health, we make sure that heart care is heartfelt. From murmurs to heart valve disease, we listen, we treat, we innovate. It's where your health is held alongside your humanity, where cutting-edge clinical trials meet compassion, with expertise ranging from preventive to pioneering. Because human care listens to your heartbeat and who it beats for. So if the rhythm of life changes, turn to the place where world-class isn't just nearby, It's where human care has a home.
When planning your next step, Villanova University's College of Professional Studies meets you where you are. Whether your journey leads to a long-awaited degree, enables you to change careers, or accelerates your current one, we have rigorous online and on-campus programs designed to align your experience with your aspirations. When everything you've been ignites everything you'll be, transformation has no age limit. Pursue the next you.
Lineman Michael Corby got Brian Westbrook Regional Player of the Year award as well. Great honor for each of those two, the former Villanova Wildcat Corby and of course the head coach of the Cats in Mark Ferrante for their recognition of last year's excellent season getting to the NCAA quarterfinals.
Nice to see Brian Westbrook back here for homecoming weekend to be able to give out that award. It'll be Jabril Mace will be deep for the Wildcats here.
12 plays, 78 yards for UNH. They ate up nearly half the quarter, 7 minutes and 21 seconds on that last drive to get the Wildcats on the board first.
And that's what you want to do when you're going against the wind.
And it's a low end-over-end kick that's picked up at around the 20 and getting hit hard near the 30. That's a big lick put on by UNH's Isaiah Jones.
And there's a couple of late flags. There's one during the play and then something late there came from the official. Maybe a sideline violation.
That was quite the hit put on by Jones.
Yeah, Nolan Clayton, the up back, picked that up and ran it back. So let's see what there's two different infractions on the play. Let's see what we have.
It was just kind of an odd play from the word go with the kind of squib kick that was picked up, as you said, Steve, by that up man around the 20. As it stands, the ball will be placed around the 30, but that's subject to the laundry that's on the field right now. Got one more look at what just went on. And that's the hit put on by Jones. He lowered the shoulder more than the head, it looked like.
I think that should be on
During
UNH.
the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 40. That penalty being enforced 10 yards from the end of the run. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team number 26, taunting. That is his first of the game. That 15-yard penalty being enforced. Be first down, Villanova.
So Villanova picks up 5 yards in the offsetting penalties.
Number 28 for the unsportsmanlike, and that is his first of the game.
Well, first they said 26, then they said 28, so we're going to assume that that was on number 28, Dominic Kavanaugh.
And you saw after the hit, he kind of ran over and got in the face of Clayton after the tackle. So they'll go back 10 and then go forward 15. So the umpire's getting his exercise in instead of just going forward 5 yards.
Great day for some cardio. Saturday afternoon, 60 degrees.
I think he cheated the Wildcats out of a yard here. He's at the 34. So
I think they marked him out at the 29.
And then he's got it right then.
Get your protractors out and your abacus and your everything else that you need to figure out where Villanova's going to start this drive.
And the Wildcats need to get their offense out here and put a drive together.
Watkins still yet to attempt a pass, and now we're going to blow it dead and try to figure this out again.
The previous play is under further review for potential targeting.
Yeah, that's what they're going to look at, whether or not Isaiah Jones lowered the head.
I think he got the shoulder, but we'll take maybe we'll get another look at it here. I didn't think it was helmet to helmet.
It's certainly worth taking a look at.
Worth bringing up, too, it's a big play early in this game. Brendan Bell was called for targeting last week and ejected from the main game in the second half, which would have forced him to miss the first half this week. That was reviewed by the conference office, and the targeting was taken away. And he's allowed to play here in the first half, and obviously made a huge play for Villanova early on.
So a consequential play there early on. We'll get a look at it as well. Clayton,
let's see what you think of this here.
Yeah, there's a couple elements of targeting. In case you're unfamiliar, it has to lower the shoulder. What is not an element here is Clayton is not defenseless. That's going to be important. So that's going to kind of have to elevate the hit from not just
this might
the
be a better look.
Yeah,
Let's
this will be a good look as well.
Is it above the shoulders or not? That's close.
Yeah, well, there's two elements. One, Jones leading with his head, and then the other element.
He certainly led with the crown of the helmet.
And then the other element is whether or not it's to the neck or head area of Clayton because he's not defenseless.
Yeah, I could see this one going either way.
Call of the field was not targeting. It's important to note they don't just kind of re-referee this on the field. It does have to be that indisputable video evidence to overturn it.
If that's the case, I think this stands and is not targeting, but I would not be shocked if they called it.
And even if it does, then that extra 15 yards would also come into play because that was after the play was over. Here's the reverse angle at it.
After further review, the ruling on the field has been confirmed. There is no targeting on number 28 of UNH.
I like that
It'll
call.
be first down, Villanova.
I think the head hits the shoulder pads.
Yeah, well, the player in question was number 35, but number 28 was the one who was announced anyways. But regardless, just wanted to take another quick look at it to make sure. Opportunity for our Villanova Sports Network crew to get those replays in. Great job by our crew all season long. Gabe Steiner leading the way in the control room, doing a great job all year long here on the Villanova Sports Network. Their work is exceptional all season long. Watkins goes back to the ground, and here is Abbott with a little burst of speed.
He's going to pick up 8 or 9 on first down. That's what you want to see. Get some chunks on first down, and now you want, if you want to take a shot, you can, but I think the Wildcats need to just kind of build some momentum here, get some continuity going, some positive plays.
That is the longest play of the day for Villanova. A gain of 9 on the ground from Abbott. So that will open up the playbook a little bit more for Chris Bowden and this Villanova team. Abbott remaining in the game, left of Watkins. And they go right back to the well with Abbott. He stood up around the line to gain. Barrels forward for a little extra.
Picks up two more than he needed, so that'll be a Wildcat first down at their own 46.
It's a Villanova team that averages more yards on the ground than through the air this season. They average 181 yards rushing, 152 yards passing. So it's not unfamiliar territory for this Villanova team to be exclusively or almost exclusively on the ground as the first quarter comes to an end. But after one quarter of play, no attempted passes for Connor Watkins and a field goal for New Hampshire. Getting set for quarter number 2 here at number 13 in the nation. Villanova getting all they can handle from their fellow Wildcats from New Hampshire. On the ground, New Hampshire's had some more success. And not only does Villanova not have a completed pass, they don't have an attempted pass in the first quarter.
It's never a good quarter when you have more penalty yards than you do offense. And that's what Villanova did in the first quarter. They put up 18 total yards and 25 yards of penalties. So the Wildcats look to kind of flip that switch here in the second quarter.
4 penalties for 25 yards for Villanova, 2 for 20 for UNH, including that unsportsmanlike 15-yard penalty. Watkins is going to go through the air. It goes a swing pass along towards the left side and some room to run along that left side for Mace out towards the first down marker.
He's going to pick up 11 or 12 on that and pick up a first down. And we talked about with Kleinpeter, the New Hampshire court. Watkins struggling a little bit. Just get him something easy like that. Get it out in the flat and let your running back do the rest of it. And a good job there securing the edge, and he's able to get a first down.
So this Villanova offense starting to move the football a little bit better here at the end of the first quarter and into the second.
And if you can continue to run the ball, that's going to suck your safeties up in this 4-3 kind of four. You know, they play the typical 4-3 up front and then 2 deep safeties.
Making the reverse. Instead, it's just a handoff towards the left for Avid. He gets tackled inside the 40.
Good job by Mace there. Good timing. Let the hole open and then hit it. And just he's one man to beat away from a big gainer.
Yeah, UNH with those 4 up front, and then they can show the nickel defense at times. One of the Owens at times will kind of creep in that nickel roll.
Really nice tackle by Hawkins there. Anthony Hawkins, 6'3", 190 for coming from his defensive backfield position.
And Wande Owens is out there right now, the graduate student from Maryland, the leading tackler for UNH.
A little different formation here with the 2 running backs, Abbott and Mace, both in the game.
On 2nd down and 3, back to the ground it goes for Abbott, looking for the hole. He'll be near the first down marker. He won't have it.
He's going to be about a yard short, so they'll bring up 3rd down and 1, which is probably 4 down territory, kicking into the win from this distance.
UNH is comfortable playing in these low-scoring games early on. Last week at halftime, the score against Rhode Island was just 3-2.
Yeah, a little baseball game went on up in Durham.
And a pitcher's duel at that, before eventually Rhode Island broke it open. If this is 4 down territory in this kind of spot, as you said, difficult to kick into the wind. I see if Villanova needs all 4 downs. Good spin move by Abbott to break free. That's the talent that brought him to Villanova.
Yeah, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage and was just able to use his strength and spin off the New Hampshire defender to pick up a big first down for the Wildcats, now inside the 30.
2-time.
Good, just spin off right there and then get upfield and finish the run. What I love about Abbott, he finishes runs. He's always falling forward, never getting knocked backwards. He's always getting that extra yard or 2 after contact.
2-time first-team All-State honoree at Winston Churchill High School. We were talking with him, Tessa Peloso and I were during the midweek, about his adversity and the real first piece of adversity faced with that loss against Maine, as Watkins will send it right back on the ground. And we're talking with David Abbott about his junior year at Winston Churchill High School. They lost to their big rivals, Walter Johnson High School. Coach came in and said they just need to realize they could be the guys that they were all season long, and said that really had a lot that mirrored what happened last week against Maine, recognizing, hey, that just wasn't the standard that the coaches know and the players know that Villanova can play at.
So now 2nd and 7 here. Ragland in next to Watkins in the backfield. They rotate their backs.
Still just the 1 pass through the air for Connor Watkins. Back to the ground it goes, or actually Watkins going to keep it and he'll throw it, and wasn't on the same page that time as Devin Smith, and Watkins took a lick at the end of the play.
He kind of pulled that, and I'm not sure who he was the intended receiver there, because he got hit. The ball ended up just falling aimlessly to the ground. Now 3rd down and long.
On the edge of field goal range, it would be about a 43-yarder into the wind. Villanova's Ethan Getman's season long is 42.
Yeah, it looks like that ball, he was tipped a little bit too, but it looks like he was really no one. Kopecky was deep in the end zone, but don't think he had enough arm strength to get it that far.
So if Villanova gets 3 or 4 here, they could be thinking 4 downs if you're Mark Ferranti in his 8th season of work here on the main line.
Need the O-line to pass block here, give him a chance.
Watkins crossing route, incomplete.
Yeah, just
looking
not a great throw there, looking for Kopecky. That ball was, he extended out, got his hands on it, but that would have been a hell of a catch if he's able to pull that one down. As Watkins threw him a fastball just out a little bit away from the body.
Offense staying out there.
Yeah, it's like 4th and 7 here from the 25.
It would match the season long for Getman, and as we said, into the wind would add a couple extra yards to that. So Mark Ferranti going to trust his offense. Watkins 1 for 3 so far today through the air. This should be an obvious passing
New
down.
Hampshire looks like they're coming.
UNH brings 4. Watkins to the air, to the end zone, caught, touchdown.
I think that's Lucas Kopecky, who getting his first start. The former lacrosse player hauls it in for a Wildcat score on 4th down.
Connor Watkins dropped it right into Kopecky, the graduate student. As Steve said, played 4 years on this field playing Villanova lacrosse. And he knows something about scoring in big-time moments. Kopecky getting Villanova their first lead of the day.
And the Villanova offense needed that. What a boost for this team. You got a 4th down. Your coach says, I got confidence in you guys. Go out there and make a play. And Watkins and Kopecky make that play and get the Wildcats a 6-3 lead with the extra point pending.
What a turn of momentum. UNH had Villanova on the ropes on 4th and long. And Watkins, who was just 1 for 3 coming into the day, or coming into that pass, dropping in an absolute dime, and the extra point makes it 7-3.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to give this a look. Just like a go pattern down the right sideline, and just good job by Watkins. Put some air under that ball and let Kopecky run underneath it. He runs away from the back, 2 hands on the football. Well executed play. Credit the line up front. Had a nice pocket to throw in, and then Kopecky with good concentration finishes.
Back here on Homecoming Saturday on the main line, plenty of alums back in the house, and Tessa Peloso is standing by with former Villanova Wildcat Michael Corby.
Corby, you received the Brian Westbrook Regional Player of the Year award. How special was that for you?
I mean, Brian Westbrook is a Villanova legend, so just to be able to wear the V proudly and do good by him is an honor.
Now, is it bittersweet being back here? Like, do you still wish you could suit up and get out there, or are you liking just being a fan?
My body would say I like being a fan, but I would go 6 more years here if I could.
Thank you, Corby. Guys.
Awesome stuff, Tessa. Yeah, you always want to be able to get out there. Anytime you talk to a former player, they say it's even worse being a fan because he can't do anything about it.
It's
on
just
the
the
field.
body just doesn't heal as quick. And Michael, who did spend 6 years here at Villanova, was an engineering major, an outstanding student, and now successful in his life after football, doing a great job. So nice to see Michael Corby back on campus.
We appreciate his time. Awesome work as usual by Tessa. Back to work for this UNH offense, and back to work for Miles Thomason, who's had a steady diet of opportunities to rush the ball here in this first half.
Good job by Dillard, whose cornerback spot coming up to play the run. It's about a 5-yard gain, but he filled that gap quickly. It looked like Thomason might have a little bit more than that as he got outside containment here.
There have, in this game between the two teams, been 34 plays, 25 of them on the ground, 9 passes combined between these two teams. These teams have a combined 79 yards rushing and 70 yards passing.
There's only been, I think, 2 completed past the line of scrimmage that, in the air. The one nice catch down the sideline by New Hampshire, and then the touchdown to Kopecky for the Cats.
Back to work again for Thomason, bouncing out to the right side. He's got a lane along this right, tiptoeing the sideline of Villanova. He's past midfield, yet each quarterback has 2 completed passes. 1 for each was that swing pass right along the line of scrimmage.
New Hampshire with a quick answer back here. They found the ability to get out on the edge. Isis Waxter is out there on this series.
One of the longest rushes of the day for Thomason, gain of about 15. Kleinpeter has the longest rush of the day for UNH, that 26-yard scamper to set things up in the red zone and get UNH the field goal that at the time took the lead. But the number 13 team in the nation having to get into a battle with this UNH Wildcat team. Back to the well for Thomason again. Yeah, and he hasn't broken off a 30 or 40 yard, but it's just these 6 or 7 yards.
They're staying between the sticks. You got a 3rd-string quarterback out there. And the last thing that I want to get in, we talked about earlier, is 2nd and long, 3rd and long. Now you're looking at 2nd and 3. That's manageable and handleable for a quarterback.
Against this Villanova defense, that's the number 2 scoring defense in the CAA. And it was the first time in 6 years that UNH has made the trip to Villanova Stadium to take on the Wildcats here on the main line. It's been a good, low-scoring defensive affair, but it's been a close one nonetheless. Klein-Peter will take it himself. He tries to spin out of the tackle of Hartzell.
He's going to lose a yard, so a good job by Shane Hartzell there. Now to bring up 3rd down and about 4. So good job by Shane Hartzell there to get the quarterback Klein-Peter down for a loss.
And here at the 41 is where, if you're Rick Santos, you might be thinking about 4 downs as well.
I would think so, for sure.
Punt wouldn't necessarily get you that much more.
No, your net probably wouldn't be much. With this win, probably ends up in the end zone. You're looking at a net of 20 yards. And you trust your defense to get a stop, but they're thinking 1st down here.
Thomason remains the back. Joey Corcoran, who's been pretty quiet so far, out onto the right side. Klein-Peter through the air and tries to get away from it. He does get it to Thomason, who is down inside the 25. What a play from Barry Klein-Peter as he was headed down to just shovel it ahead for Thomason.
Yeah, it looked for sure that he was going to get sacked and the Wildcats were going to get a stop, but as he's going down his man, he just shovels the ball forward to Thomason, who gets it down inside the 25. Huge play. Good awareness by the quarterback Klein-Peter here. It looked like Bell was going to get him, and he just throws it as he's getting forward. And then good blocking downfield.
What a heads-up play, and just that little shovel pass as he was heading to ground. He played shortstop in high school. It's like he's on his knees trying to start a double play, just shoveling the ball to second base. And just like that, UNH with a little bit of trickery. Double reverse to the right side.
His knee went down.
Well, did it? That's the question. That's Logan Perez.
It certainly looked like he was down back in the backfield, but they're not going to get a call.
Perez, the freshman from Sewell, New Jersey.
Let's see if we can maybe we get another look at this.
After further review, the runner was down at the 28-yard line.
So they are going to get that.
Up 2nd down.
Our staff crew gets us the knee certainly hits right there. Good call. They missed it initially, but good call by the officials to get that right.
Great job again by Gabe in our control room to get us those looks. Great job by our camera people as well here on the Villanova Sports Network.
So it's a loss of 5, and this is what we just talked about. You don't want to be behind the sticks now. It's 2nd and 15. So he tried a little trickery, and unfortunately for New Hampshire, it loses them 5 yards.
This is a UNH team that has struggled on the ground the past couple of contests. They already have 70 yards on the ground.
He's run the ball really well. They're going to sprint him out.
And Klein-Peter will go on the ground designed, and he'll get back towards the original line of scrimmage. UNH has
there's a flag down. I think they might get Terrell Mims for a late hit here on Thomason.
UNH has had 4 straight games so far this year, Steve, in which they have rushed for under 100 yards. That's probably going to change today.
This is going to be a big call here because it's going to be 3rd and long, or if this could be a foul on Mims. I think he hit Thomason out wide. Let's see, when he didn't have the football.
Those defensive penalties always more crucial because it bails you out on the offensive side of things with those automatic 1st downs.
Well, could it be a offensive pass interference? They were blocking, but they ran the end of running the ball. So let's see.
During the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness with targeting, offense number 7. That penalty would be 15 yards, half the distance to the goal.
Yeah, it's going to be against Villanova. It's not offense, unfortunately.
Yeah, offense number 7 is the one of the main players that UNH has had all season, Seth Morgan, who's been their quarterback all season, who's out today with an injury.
Out wide. Terrell Mims, I think he thought they were going to run that, that kind of screen pass out to Thomason, and he blew him up, but the ball never came there.
So we're going to have
huge penalty here, and obviously if it's targeting, it's even worse, because Waxter's already banged up at one of your cornerback positions. Now you lose your other corner, Mims, if he's out for targeting.
We're going to have to clarify that because, as you said, that can't be offense number 7. That wouldn't make any sense in the scenario.
Yeah, seeing it live, it was Mims, and they mentioned half the distance to the goal, so it's against Villanova, and that Mims is 7.
And Mark Ferrante is kind of shrugging his shoulders over there on the right side going, which team is this penalty called against?
And I don't know if we have a replay of that because it's out wide. It's not where the football was. They faked the screen out to the wide side of the field to Thomason. Mims read it and came in and popped him. And they're saying that he targeted him and hit him in the head with the crown of his helmet.
Yeah, well, this is where we were talking about that other targeting call. That defenseless category also comes into play. Well, just take a look at the play.
He went in motion there. It's all the way out here. They fake it, and then Mims drilled him out wide. We don't get to see it. It was not part of the play. That was the whole thing.
Yeah, it was all kind of in this melee of things, and Mims already kind of walking off, trying to avoid the officials who had gathered together.
Mark Ferrani's not happy.
That's one of those just undisciplined plays that will probably stay a penalty even if it isn't targeting. That's just unsportsmanlike conduct, unnecessary roughness.
I don't know.
That is an element that can occur.
I guess if he was defenseless, I see the call, but he's out there in a pattern, and they fake the ball to him as a defender. He goes to hit him. Now, obviously, you can't hit him helmet to helmet.
So an interesting and important call here. The graduate student from Philadelphia, Tyrell Mims, we were talking with him earlier on this week. Asked about the standard that wasn't really set against Maine. He seemed like he had a fire lit under himself, Tyrell Mims, to get back to what he needed to do this week.
If this penalty stands, it's a huge call because now it's an automatic first down outside about the 12-yard line. Or it would have been third and about 12.
Now, it's just been an uncomfortable day so far for Villanova. We were talking with Tyrell Mims about the comfort level of playing here at home. We've said it's been nearly a month, and he noted just not having to get on a bus and a plane, getting to sleep in your own bed, just knowing everything that will take place on your own stadium will add to that level of comfort that just wasn't there for Villanova last week.
Yeah, this review's taken a while, so I guess there's some doubt in this. They want to make sure they get it right. Mark Ferrani sitting right at the edge of the box, waiting to talk to the officials once they come up with a call.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they get any sort of good angle at this, just because it was away from the ball.
It really wasn't part of the play. Like I said, they faked the pass out there, and the ball never went there.
Well, looks like they've made their decision. We'll go downstairs, and
it looks like he's going to be. I see the side judge talking to Coach Ferrani. Means I think he's going to be ejected.
We'll hear what we have to say.
After further review and further discussion with the on-field penalty, number 7 of Villanova has had an unnecessary roughness. Replay has overturned the targeting, so we will have a half the distance to the goal, and it'll be first down, UNH.
So no targeting. Mims stays on the field. This was one of the angles of targeting that I think a lot of people in the first year or two hated, which was even if you overturned it, you had to overturn the penalty as well.
Here's my thing, though. How is that unnecessary roughness if it's not targeting?
That's
on a live play like that. That's I don't understand. That's kind of what I don't understand.
That was part of the debate when targeting first rolled out a couple of years ago. Is can you keep unnecessary roughness? It didn't used to be the case. It used to you have to overturn everything or nothing.
Yeah, I think I don't know if I like that. I think if it's targeting, it's the 15-yard. I don't think it's unnecessary roughness if he hits him in the chest and whatever they deemed not to be targeting. Probably shouldn't be unnecessary roughness.
Well, Mims stays in the game, which is kind of wider lens, the good news for Villanova.
But unfortunately, instead of 3rd and 15, it's 1st and 10 from the 12.
And Kleinpeter and UNH trying to retake the lead here as we're past the midway point of the second quarter. Back to the ground and back to Thomason, and there's 2 Wildcats to meet him in the back.
Yeah, really nice run blitz there. That's Obina Wobodeau from his middle linebacker, his nose guard position, and Brendan Bell getting in the backfield as well.
And Ty Trin wasn't far away either. There might have been 2 or 3 Villanova players.
2-yard loss here on first down. Wobodeau beats his block, and good job by Bell, too.
And Ethan Potter got past his first defender as well to kind of unbalance things offensively on the line for UNH. So back behind the sticks go the visitors, with Thomason back behind Barry Kleinpeter. Kleinpeter rolls out to the left, is looking left, has a man, and it's intercepted. There's Tyrell Mims, the man in question, going all the way down the right side, out towards midfield, and Mims still on his feet. Mims cuts towards the middle. Tyrell Mims all the way for the touchdown.
There is a flag on the field. We'll have to wait and see what that one is. And Mark Ferrani's steaming hot, so I'm not sure. I think it might be coming back.
And that was right near where Kleinpeter threw it. So we'll see what we've got.
Foul, roughing the passer.
Oh,
Defense,
boy.
number 91. Be half the distance to the goal. Automatic first down.
Wipe off the interception, wipe off the return. Said it was right where Kleinpeter threw it, and it's because of the roughing the passer.
He actually jumped in the air on that pass. He must have finished his play. Hopefully we get a look at it. Let's see it. Here's 91 Howard. Let's see what the... I saw him leave his feet here. I remember him going up in the air. Oh, that's a horrendous football call. That is horrendous. He jumped in the air and barely made contact with him. Oh, my God.
One of these stories of stories, Tyrell Mims.
Unless something happened after the play that we didn't see, that's one of the worst calls I've ever seen. Let's see if there's something after the play. There's got to be more to it. I can't believe an official threw a flag on that. There's got to be something that I missed. Oh, my goodness. He pushed him in the chest. I think it is football, right? Wow. I usually don't get that upset. That's bad.
Oh,
unfortunately, that is really bad.
What would have been a Lazarus-esque touchdown for Tyrell Mims.
Mark Ferrani doesn't know how mad he should be, and he's steaming. That might be that's as bad a call as I've seen in a long time.
Tyrell Mims was ejected, then he wasn't, then had a touchdown, and then he didn't. And it's 1st and goal for UNH.
Timeout, Villanova.
That's a good timeout for Mark Ferrani.
Yeah, just got to calm everybody down, and you can get Mims back in the game. I mean, that is, I got to leave it alone. That's not good. That was not a good call.
Well, plenty to talk about here in the first half, albeit just 10 points on the board.
Yeah, you just can't make that call. Talk about the effect you had on the game.
Those roughing the passer calls have been up for debate in the NFL more than in college football. The element that was added fairly recently in terms of the grand context of football, with even if it's not a late hit, just a hit towards that neck or head area that we're trying to do so much to protect in football, which is a good thing to make sure that we protect that as much as possible. Concussions are too much of an issue in this sport, but that does lead that leeway a little bit too open. That door is open a little bit more than I think coaches around the country want. Maybe an overcorrection over the past 10 years or so.
That's just a bad call. Officials make mistakes, and they made a mistake. It was really just a bad call.
So Barry Kleinpeter and UNH back to work. 1st and goal from the 7. 3 receivers out to the left. Designed run for Kleinpeter to the right. He's inside the 5, and he will be stopped at around the 3 or so.
So instead of a 14-3 game, you have New Hampshire now with 2nd and goal from the 2 with a chance to take the lead.
And what is a really good crowd on hand here on Homecoming Saturday. They have made their opinion known about what is the biggest call of the day so far. Officials have otherwise had to be pretty busy, but all those penalties were penalties.
Yeah. They just missed one. It happens, and that was a bad miss. Unfortunately, it really affected the game because it was a 102-yard touchdown return.
And potentially a 14-point swing as Kleinpeter again designed run into the mixer, pushing his way towards the goal line. He's down to the 1.
Down to the 1. So I would think this close. It's 2 down territory. 3rd and goal now from the 1. See if the Villanova defense can make a stand. Just a horrible call. I've got to get it out of my head, but it's just not a good call.
UNH has scored touchdowns on 2/3 of their trips into the red zone this year. And as you said, they can't really afford to settle for 3 in this kind of spot.
You got the ball, and
especially with the momentum swings.
Yeah, 2nd and goal at the 2. You got to be able to punch it in. And it looks like they're going to go here with a.
Yeah, they call in Denzel Gibson. He's their 3rd down back, if you will, their short yardage back.
And then Kleinpeter's going to take another timeout.
Eric Santos was
timeout
on his horse down the sideline trying to rush after the
30 seconds
referee to call a timeout.
The last thing you want to do there is take a delay a game and go back 5 yards when you got the ball sitting on about the 1.5-yard line.
So it'll be interesting to see if Gibson does get his number called. He's the biggest of the 3 running backs in the room for UNH, 5'10", 210 pounds, looking for his first touchdown of his career. Redshirt freshman from Bellwood, Illinois. And Kleinpeter so far has managed the game pretty well. 3 for 6 for 52 yards. He hasn't had to do a ton.
No, and he escaped that one mistake he just made with the penalty call.
The 1 turnover off of the fumble back in the first quarter, then Villanova fumbled it right back the other way. Both teams have had opportunities to kind of break away. Neither team has so far. That long 7-minute-plus drive for UNH resulting in just 3 from inside the 5. They had to kick the field goal. Villanova responded with the Watkins to Kopecky touchdown catch. And now New Hampshire looking for the road upset victory over the number 13 team in the land.
Yeah, they go with 2 backs. Gibson in there.
And it's Lamoris.
Lamoris as well. He'll be your fullback.
He's a tight end listed, but He'll lead the way. It's Klein Peter taking it himself, and he's short.
So it's 4th and goal from the 1.
Oh, this is decision time for Rick Santos.
Yeah, I really don't think there's much of a decision. The big decision is probably the play call. What are you going to do here on 4th and 1? And if the Wildcats can make one more stop, maybe a little bit of justice in this, because I'm not sure New Hampshire deserves a touchdown.
Surprise, perhaps.
Great. Good job by the defensive line there. Getting low, digging down. Good fill by Inge, and then good job by Goodman and Hartzell.
Surprised perhaps not to see Gibson touch the football yet this series. He's back out there to the left of Klein Peter. Klein Peter himself one more time.
He's not going to make it.
Short.
What a goal line stand by the Wildcats. It was 2nd and goal inside the 2, and they come up with 3 stops.
Justice for Villanova. And it's 7-3 with 3:26 left to go in the first half.
I think it was Shane Hartzell who got the helmet in there. Watch this hit. Bang! It was Hartzell up high, and maybe one of the safeties down low. We'll get a good look from it here. Hartzell 31. 4 is Goodman. And it looked like it was those 2 guys that blew that thing up.
Shane
Aiden
Hartzell.
Howard as well at the bottom of the pile.
Shane Hartzell, the junior from Pennsylvania. Goodman, the graduate student from Pennsylvania, on their homecoming. A couple of upperclassmen making sure that the sophomore Klein Peter didn't get there. Now for Watkins, you have to be smart here.
Exactly. It's inside the 1 here. Last thing you want to do is commit a safety. Nobody moved.
Whistle and...
Well, if it's half the distance, it's about an inch or 2.
False start.
That's what it will be.
Number 16. Half the distance to the goal.
That's Kopecky.
Yeah, that's 2 on the wide receivers today. That's like I said, that just can't happen. My guess is this is going to be a dive in the middle play. You don't really have much responsibility if you're out wide.
Clock operator,
I don't even
please
think
reset
they're moving
the
the
game
football.
clock to 3-2-6.
There's not much room between that and the goal line. Wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes if the Wildcats have a a set where you come under center and just try to drive this thing out to the 2 or 3.
Ragland is the back.
Basically quarterback sneak.
But Watkins is in shotgun. They'll hand it off to Ragland to try to get something. Not much breathing room.
He's out to the 2. I like Abbott here. He's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger.
Abbott has 3 inches on Ragland. Freshman is 6 foot even. Ragland's 5'9".
If in this series, if the Wildcats can just get a first down, would be huge.
Yeah,
New Hampshire with only, I think they showed New Hampshire with still 2 timeouts. Though I thought they had taken 2. They only took the 1.
Yeah, Mark Ferrante took that other one.
Yep.
For Villanova. If you're UNH now, if you were able to get a stop here, you might have a short field with a little bit of time left to work. It'll be interesting to see how both of these teams manage the clock in the last couple of minutes. Watkins to the air, and he's got his man. That's Devin Smith.
What a gutsy call by Chris Bowden there. I think me and everyone else in the stadium think, hey, let's run this thing. Let's try to get it out past the 5. Watkins pulls it out of the belly and hits Smith down the sideline to get the Wildcats out of trouble.
The NC Central transfer with catch number 22 on the season. That puts him over 250 yards through the air so far this year. And Watkins with a couple of big throws out to his right. The touchdown to Kopecky was on a similar looking play just in the red zone. And then the big link up with Smith.
Now if you're Villanova, you're thinking points. Before you were thinking first down. Now you want to add to your 7-3 lead.
Watkins rolls out to his left, throws across the middle. He might have Sanchez. It was both Sanchez and Smith there.
Yeah, Sanchez had his man beaten. Unfortunately, I think Watkins couldn't get it out on the other side of the hash mark. Came back to the middle of the field, and then Smith ran into it. So 2 guys ended up in the same spot, or Sanchez had his man beat.
Connor Watkins had to roll out to his left and then throw back across his body. You don't generate as much arm strength as rolling out to your right in that spot.
That's Sanchez, and then Smith ends up coming into it, and then good play by the defensive back of the Huskies.
Wind kind of knocked it down.
The Wildcats.
Wind kind of knocked it down as well.
That's a good point. That was Skinner, the cornerback, who knocked that away.
Zaron Skinner, the quarterback, as they go back down to the ground, and Abbott gains about 5, and timeout taken by whom?
I think it's going to be the 2-minute timeout.
Oh, you're right. 2 minutes left to go, 1:59 to go in the first half. Villanova looking to add to their 7-3 lead here on the Villanova Sports Network.
Start on the snap. Thank you.
can't hide what makes NJM Insurance so great. Although some may try. We're proud to put policyholders first. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. What if all insurance companies were like NJM and didn't use mascots? And were known for putting their policyholders first. Then all those insurance mascots would have to get real jobs. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
I can throw in like today's scores if it matters.
We welcome you back here with 2 minutes left to play in the first half. A 7-3 lead with a big CAA victory on the line. Villanova and New Hampshire trying to jump into that upper echelon. Rhode Island and Richmond coming into play today 3-0. There's a couple of score lines that are finished. Rhode Island is now 4-0. They beat Maine. Towson.
Richmond's going to go to 4-0 as well. They beat Bryant today.
So those two at the very top continuing to stay on top.
And Towson with a nice win on the road at Monmouth, who was leading the FCS in scoring, held them to 14 points and win that one 26-14.
So Tigers are up to 2-2, but everyone chasing the Rams and the Spiders.
This is a big third down here. Villanova doesn't want to give the football back to the New Hampshire Wildcats. See if they can convert here about 3rd and 5.
Winner of this game will stay within one game of the top of the CAA and those two leaders. Watkins will look to the air again. Pressure comes. He lets it fly, and it's incomplete. Was looking for Lopes.
Got his hands on it, but it got knocked away again. Good play once again by the defensive back Skinner. Just ball hung up just a little bit in the air. There's a flag down. No, there isn't. I take that back. Thought I saw one.
Skinner, the junior from Orlando, Florida, FBS transfer from FAU.
So that stops the clock. And
a punt away.
Yeah, that wind kind of knocks that thing down. Let's see the Wildcats can get a roll on this, and they get a little bit of a bounce.
And it'll trickle in towards the 22. Villanova trying to push it a little bit further telekinetically more than anything else. And it will be UNH who has the ball with 1:42 to go, 2 timeouts. And an opportunity for Barry Kleinpeter to lead a 2-minute drill.
That incompletion kind of helps New Hampshire, because if Villanova had run the ball, you either forced New Hampshire to take a timeout. New Hampshire really not built for the 2-minute offense here with their 3rd-string quarterback Barry Kleinpeter in. So they're going to have to hit some plays, probably some big plays in the running game here. Let's see how Villanova does get the ball to start the second half. So the Wildcats can get a stop here and go in up 7-3.
Well, it's worth noting, Steve, that they're going into the wind, which will help for the field goal. And Nick Mazie, their kicker, has a big leg. His season long is 52. So you get down to about the 35 or so, you give yourself a chance. Be about 45 yards away from where UNH is set up right now. Kleinpeter will look to the air. He goes out to the left. That's a long throw for not that much yardage.
And that's going to keep the clock running.
Gain of maybe 2 to Joey Corcoran, the leading receiver, one of the leading receivers for UNH.
Yeah, I would not be surprised here if Maine just runs the football here as this clock gets down under 1:20. You don't get much on first down. You
see what Kleinpeter does here for UNH as they look to take the lead going into halftime. Again, a throw in the flat, smartly getting out of bounds is Thomason.
So now it's third down. Third down from the 28. They need about 3. So a big down here. Villanova could get the ball back with 2 timeouts, and they can get a stop here. They could use one of their timeouts.
And Watkins has shown a propensity to go through the air. Already 2 plays of 25 or more through the air.
And it's going to be tough going into the win, but they did throw a touchdown into this win earlier in the quarter.
It is continuing to swell. The wind is here at Villanova Stadium. Moving from left to right at the backs of UNH. 3rd and 3. Oh, it feels like a big fulcrum play here late in this first half, with the Villanova Wildcats getting the ball to start the second. Flush down the pocket as Kleinpeter throws on the run, incomplete, and that'll stop the clock.
That'll stop the clock. 1:04 to go here in the first half. That'll be 4th down. So the Wildcats have an opportunity here to get the ball back with, say, 50 some odd seconds to go, probably around their own 30. Well, actually kicking with the wind, maybe more like the 25. But let's see if Tanner Maddox can put a return together.
Sean Lehane is back to punt.
He's back at about his own 20.
Important field position play here to determine what Villanova's outlook will be for the last 60 seconds or so of this first half of play. Fair catch called for and made, Villanova's own 23. So Ethan Getman will have to go into the wind if he's going to kick here. His season long is 42. So you're looking at a round to be safe, including the wind, around the 20 or so of UNH.
And here I'm like a first down guy here. If you get something, you get a chunk, maybe you get you can pick up 7, 8, 15 yards on first down. Then I'm aggressive. If I don't, maybe then I'm going to run the ball and just try to go into halftime up 7-3.
It has been a low-scoring affair here on the main line on homecoming Saturday here in Villanova. Connor Watkins back out there to lead this Villanova team. As Ragland off to his left. 58 seconds with which to work and 2 timeouts. What can this Villanova offense mount? Back to the ground they go for Ragland. He's looking for a seam. He's patient, waiting for it to open up, and gain of about 5 to the 28.
It looks like the Wildcats are content to run out the half here.
Watkins not in any sort of hurry as the clock ticks down under 40 seconds, especially with both teams having turned the ball over already. Just making sure you take care of the ball is priority number 1.
This is anything. It's maybe a home run, try to hit a 30-yarder downfield, but
back to the ground for Ragland again. Little seam opens up. He's got a first down to the 37.
I would take a timeout here.
That's exactly what the Wildcats do.
Looks like
did they?
No, they just moved the stick. So it's not. See, I would have took a timeout there.
Yeah.
You got the ball out past the 35 now, and then maybe take a couple of shots. But
Mark Ferranti was down by the official.
Yeah, I see the head coaches taking their headsets off, so that's going to be halftime.
Well, since Mark Ferranti has gotten to Villanova, the Wildcats are 45-5 when leading at halftime, and Villanova will head into the locker room with the lead, albeit a slight one, here at the half. A 7-3 lead for Villanova as we hit the end of the first half. When we come back, we'll look back at the first half and ahead towards the second. A touchdown pass by Lucas Kopecky has given Villanova a 7-3 lead at the interval here on Homecoming Saturday on the Villanova Sports Network.
In moments of vulnerability, it's only human to seek warmth and expertise. Mainline Health is the place where both your health and humanity matter, where ultrasounds come with understanding, where tests are met with tenderness, where EKGs are as important as empathy, the place where you will never be your only advocate, the place for a lifetime of care delivered neighbor to neighbor. Mainline Health, where human care has a home.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
Here at halftime on the Villanova Sports Network, a perfect day for fall football here between UNH and Villanova, and it's a 7-3 lead for the Villanova Wildcats over the UNH Wildcats as we say hello once again high above the field here at Villanova Stadium. He's Steve Pannone. I'm Ben Curtis here on the Villanova Sports Network. A sloppy start for both teams. Villanova's first series, they backed up on a couple of penalties. The one touchdown pass from Watkins to Kopecky, and that was most of the offense for Villanova.
Yeah, and that was a 4th and 7, too. A huge play for Villanova to give them the lead here at halftime. But you mentioned a defensive struggle. Wildcats with a goal line stand. New Hampshire really not much in the passing game, trying to run the football. It's going to be one of those games, probably a fourth quarter game, as the Wildcats go in the half up 7-3.
A defensive struggle so far in this one, and that's why couple of the big players for Villanova, a couple of the top performers have been defensive players. Shane Hartzell's been excellent on the defensive side of things.
He was huge in that goal line stand, had 2 big tackles there. Look, you see him now with 13, got 6 solos, 13 tackles. This isn't a half. There's still another half of football to go. Lucas Kopecky with a huge touchdown reception. Connor Watkins, I thought, got in a little bit of a better flow late in the game. Late in that first half, 3 of 7 for 67 yards in that touchdown to Kopecky.
Touched on it when he had that catch. Kopecky, a great story, the former Villanova lacrosse player, as we take a look back at some of the rest of the highlights of that first half, and most of them were on the defensive side of things for Villanova.
No doubt about it. And if you're showing a lot of New Hampshire highlights, probably the same way. But here's the first one. Brendan Bell with a beautiful strip sack and then jumps on it. Wildcats had 1st and 10, but unfortunately they end up turning the ball over as well.
And it was just a swing of one way to the other momentum-wise, as it was throughout most of the first half. Great play from Bell, as you said early on. And Villanova had a short field with which to work, but then Watkins trying to punch it in for Villanova. He lost the ball right back. Josiah Silver's been relatively quiet so far for UNH, but that was the big play defensively for the visitors.
They stop a 1st and goal and get a big turnover, and the momentum was all with New Hampshire at that point.
That was one of 3 tackles that Silver has had, 2 of them solo. But then Villanova started to get going on the offensive side of things. Mace with that big play, and that just kick-started Villanova offensively, got them feeling a bit better about themselves.
Yeah, then you give him the ball here. He's used his speed. You know, Mace is an effective runner, but he needs a little bit of space to get up to full speed in terms of not a tackle-to-tackle guy, but get him out wide. He can do some things. And here's a beautiful throw and catch. Kopecky, just a good job going high point the ball, and a good throw from Watkins.
Up and over Noah Stansbury, the cornerback who was guarding him, and Kopecky, we said the former lacrosse player, getting the start today and rewarding his coach for getting him that start, his 2nd touchdown of the season. UNH had a couple of opportunities to punch it in late, but getting stood up along the goal line a couple of times was Barry Kleinpeter.
I think that was 3rd down. This is like the 4th down play, I think. Yes, it is. It's Shane Hartzell again. Reading his gap, just popped in there. Beautiful hit. You know, the hit, the momentum, drive the ball carrier backwards. Don't let him fall forward for a touchdown.
Some of the numbers that have told the story of this first half. The passing yards started to get going for Villanova, all 67 of those in the 2nd quarter.
Yeah, because we mentioned at the end of the first quarter, did not have a passing yard. Obviously, a pretty even game. The penalties have been huge, and the one huge call, obviously, the roughing the passer call that negated a 102-yard touchdown for Terrell Mims off an interception.
5 tackles for loss for Villanova defensively as well. So when you look at the total yards for UNH, you also have to factor in how Villanova's been able to back them up. When we talked at the start of the game, 3rd-string quarterback for UNH, Barry Kleinpeter, was going to be crucial for him to stay on schedule ahead of the sticks. Villanova's done a decent job of backing up UNH.
They have, and more importantly now, as we start this 2nd half, if the Wildcats can get a score off this first possession, make this a 14-3 game. As this game evolves, they're going to force Kleinpeter in to throw the football more, and it's just not his strength. And just hasn't had enough reps in practice to be comfortable doing that.
Neither of these teams are terribly built, Steve, to come back from big deficits. Both have tried to establish their identity on the ground. UNH has, throughout the season, been a little bit more active through the year, but now working without Seth Morgan with their 3rd-string quarterback, Barry Kleinpeter, kind of taking on a similar identity to Villanova, trying to establish the run
Very
first.
much so. Neither team wants to be down 2 scores. That's why it's so important if Villanova can get out and get a drive here to start this 2nd half and go up 14-3, that puts a lot of pressure on that New Hampshire offense.
Well, for more on what Villanova has to do here in the 2nd half, we'll send it down to the 3rd member of our crew, Tessa Pelosa. We'll actually grab Tessa in just a few moments, but just kind of looking back again on that first half. For Villanova, as you said, an important drive to start the 3rd quarter. UNH, as we said at the start of the game, 2-0 coming off of losses. They're a resilient bunch. For Villanova at halftime, getting a chance to kind of script out this 3rd quarter drive a little bit more. And for more on Villanova, now we'll send it down to Tessa.
I was walking with head coach Mark Ferrante going into the half, and I asked him, I said, your defense is only holding UNH to 3 points, have 2 impressive defensive stands. How do you keep this momentum up going into the 2nd half? And he says, well, our defense is in pretty good shape. We got to keep UNH off the board. He goes, but our offense needs to get something going in the 2nd half. We have to start putting plays on the board, guys.
Thanks so much, Tessa. Great stuff to get the insight from the man in charge for Villanova. And for this Villanova Wildcat team, they will get the ball to start the 2nd half, a 7-3 Villanova edge here on Homecoming Saturday on the main line.
To me, representing my family and culture in the sport of lacrosse is something super special, and whenever I step foot on the field, just knowing that I have that passion and that pride of being Puerto Rican is something that allows me to play at my best every day.
It has always meant pretty much everything to me. It's my why. It's the reason why I play lacrosse every day, and it's the motivation that I look forward to the most because I have so much family from Puerto Rico. It just means the most to me, just having that cultural background and having el orgullo to say I'm from Puerto Rico and I love it.
It's an honor and a privilege to represent my family and culture here at Villanova. It goes beyond just playing a game when I get to play for something bigger than myself.
Being able to represent Mexico and represent my family and my culture is something that I never have been in tune with until I really got to Villanova and felt comfortable enough to be able to express that side of myself. So I think that's something that I'm proud of.
Diversity in the sport is important as it creates a richer experience for female athletes to express their love for the sport and their culture.
I think for the game of lacrosse, it's really important, especially when you think of the orange of the game and it being a game for everyone. When people see representation at the collegiate level, it just pushes the game into everyone's hand.
And just being able to have different cultures, different styles of plays, and different perspectives from all over is what makes the sport so unique and special.
I think it's really important. I mean, little girls need idols to look up to, and it's always nice to have someone that looks like you or has the same background as you to look up to. And growing up, I know I didn't really have that, and I kind of felt singled out, but coming here and having Gabby and Nisa on the team, having Coach Mitchie here, it's it came full circle because now I have people who I can look up to.
I think our goal is to encourage the younger generation to follow their dreams and excel in lacrosse and feel included.
When I was coming to Villanova, I did look at the roster to see are there any girls of color on the team, and I kind of saw it as I'm coming here with my sister, we can start something here and we can bring this diversity to the team and share our culture with them, and they've been learning through us and we've been showing them some things that we culturally we've always experienced. So it's been a really beautiful moment just spreading that diversity, because as a group we get stronger together and then we can show the rest of the world hey, come to Villanova. It's a super welcoming place and you're gonna feel accepted here.
Being a part of Villanova lacrosse, there are 5 female athletes that have different cultures, and it creates a bigger experience and allows everyone to celebrate and learn off of each other.
I think when I played back in the day, there wasn't a lot of Hispanic people on the team, and to come to a program where there are 4 amazing individuals showcasing their talents on a regular basis shows you that anyone is capable of playing this game, and I love that we have an opportunity to celebrate them, and we are all trying to spread the love of this game.
I hope to inspire the next generation by playing with more passion and embracing the different cultures of Hispanic heritage, especially being a girl of color. My goal is to always represent the girls that don't really have that opportunity that I've been given, and to just really build off of my success and bringing other girls along with me.
A breath of fresh air, a cup of joe, a walk through history together, a laugh and a half, a challenge, and a shopping spree. A celebration, a nightcap, and a much-needed release. Make Montgomery County, PA, your escape.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
At Independence Blue Cross, we get to know our members and their communities, which are also our communities. For more than 85 years, we've earned our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. We're your hometown partner for life, and we'll never stop looking out for you.
Bacon. Good morning, everybody. Nothing like the Jersey Mike's morning prep. The sizzling bacon, the slicing of the tomatoes, the popping of the fresh lettuce.
Danny, what are you doing up there?
I've been living up here for months.
Got a package from Mr. DeVito?
Ooh, my bacon sniffing horn. Oh, smell that bacon. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, now we're talking. Freshly prepped every morning. It's a Jersey Mike's thing, a sub above.
At Mainline Health, we make sure that heart care is heartfelt. From murmurs to heart valve disease, we listen, we treat, we innovate. It's where your health is held alongside your humanity, where cutting-edge clinical trials meet compassion, with expertise ranging from preventive to pioneering. Because human care listens to your heartbeat and who it beats for. So if the rhythm of life changes, turn to the place where world-class isn't just nearby. It's where human care has a home.
At Independence Blue Cross, we get to know our members and their communities, which are also our communities. For more than 85 years, we've earned our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. We're your hometown partner for life, and we'll never stop looking out for you.
A decisive 30 minutes in the context of both of these two teams' seasons. Coming up here on the Villanova Sports Network alongside Steve Pannone, I'm Ben Curtis. Tessa Peloso down on the sidelines as well. Our entire Villanova Sports Network crew here at halftime. And Steve, this is a huge possession to start the second half for Villanova.
For both teams, I think. Obviously, we talked about how both teams are kind of run-oriented, and you don't want to get down 2 scores, especially here in the second half. So Villanova can punch one in and take an 11-point lead. That puts a lot of pressure on the New Hampshire offense. Obviously, if New Hampshire can get a 3 and out, they're feeling fine. They can continue to run their offense, try to make plays through the running game. the short passing game as well. But Villanova can really do something here if they can put up a score in it right here to start the half.
While we have a minute, want to recognize our sound engineer, Brian Bricklin, his final game working with us here at the Villanova Sports Network. We will miss him dearly. He's been up in the booth with us all season long.
What are we going to do in a couple of weeks without Brian? He's been great to work with over all these years, and he's kind of calling it, not a career, but calling it we'll call it like a hiatus from Villanova for a while. We'll call it that.
Been with us.
Maybe someday he'll be back.
Been here in the booth for lacrosse, for football. We'll miss him dearly. He's done a great job.
He's a mainstay here on campus.
He's got the difficult job of listening to the two of us yet for quite some time and making it sound good for all of you. We appreciate him, and we're going to miss him very dearly. Second half getting set to go here. Villanova in the home blues. In case you're just tuning in, UNH getting set to kick off from right to left in the visiting white with the blue accent.
The Wildcats will have the wind here in the third quarter. New Hampshire will have the wind in the fourth.
Nick Maisie is teed up and ready to go, and the second 30 minutes that will determine the tenor of the home stretch of both of these two seasons is underway. And a kick right into the wind is fielded at the 17, brought back out towards the 25. That's Mace out towards the 30, and that's where Villanova will set up in decent field position.
Yeah, nice job by Jarrell Mace. That wind kind of caught a hold of that kick. It kind of was backtracking away from him. He was able to get under it at the 17 and get it out past the 30.
So that's where Connor Watkins and this Villanova offense will start things up. 22.7 points per game average this year, just the 7 in the first half. Watkins 3 for 7 for 67 yards and the decisive touchdown.
And I don't think we mentioned Jalen Sanchez's name at all in the first half, so maybe somebody to look, see if they can get the ball to him.
Yeah, he had that one route where he beat his receiver and the ball never got to him.
Yeah, and then him and Smith ended up kind of running in the same area and got knocked away.
Sanchez had that one rush for -3 yards where he got tripped up by his own player in the backfield. On the ground goes Abbott to start things off. Modest gain of 2, maybe 3.
But still, once again, been contacts made about at the original line of scrimmage. He drives that leg drive forward, falls forward, picks up close to 3 yards. Does a good job of always kind of falling forward.
Big time recruit for Villanova to be able to get. Big time football family. His brother Zeke, a wide receiver at Maryland. Those two teams linked up earlier this year in College Park. A 38-20 Terps win. Second down and 7. That was the one FBS team that Villanova will play this season. Abbott gets a seam right up the middle and again falls forward. He's 2 yards short.
Now it brings up a big 3rd down and 2 here from the 38.
Villanova started the day on defense, got a 3 and out on UNH's first possession of the half.
And you have to get this ball just about, I think it's got to be touching the 40 for a first down. So they need a full 2 yards here.
Visiting Wildcats trying to return the favor.
Let's see if New Hampshire sells out on the run here.
And always got to keep an eye on where number 8 is. Josiah Silver made that big play in the red zone in that first quarter. Coming off the edge here, it's Abbott to the other side. He's got the first down and more, breaking one tackle near midfield.
Yeah, I thought, he just, somebody one of the linemen got him by the ankles, or he's still going. It looked like 93. I think it was Tim Bonagura got him the defensive tackle.
The junior who stayed home, a Fremont, New Hampshire native, able to stay home on that tackle.
Actually, I apologize. I think it's 92, Politano.
Yep. Senior from Jacksonville, Florida. Just his 8th tackle of the season, but a big one.
Yeah, 92 Politano with a big play. But a big play for Villanova to get that first down.
So now you can start to open things up if you're the host Wildcats out near midfield. Again on the ground they go, though, to Ragland. Runs into some traffic. Shimmies out towards the midfield marker, and he's just about at the 50.
Yeah, give him about 3 yards. So 4 straight running plays to start the second half here for the Wildcats. Obviously, even if they could put up 3 points in this drive, that would force New Hampshire to get a touchdown to tie the game.
Wildcats have run 27 plays, 20 rushes, 7 pass attempts. This Villanova offense that has been ground first, and then Watkins complimentary through the air after that. Not only today, but all season long. That's how the Wildcats have had success.
Kopecky's got single coverage down here.
Watkins to the air this time, though, looking for it all. Looking for Kopecky. Didn't get anywhere near, and Watkins was hit in the backfield.
Yeah,
that's why he didn't get
couldn't
there.
Step into the throw. It was single coverage on Kopecky, but Watkins just unable to step into his throw, and the ball falls short.
Watkins took a hit at the end of that play, and that will make some Villanova fans not terribly happy, thinking back to the roughing the passer call in the first half.
So a big third down here for the New Hampshire defense.
In case you're just joining us, a Tyrone Mims 100-yard interception return wiped off the board on a roughing the passer call, and it didn't end up resulting in UNH points because Klein Peter was stopped at the 1-yard line on 4th down, but Villanova thought, at least momentarily, it was 14-3 Villanova. Instead, it's 7-3, and they've got this third down
New
and
Hampshire
7.
showing pressure. It gets blocked up, so there's a chance.
Smith is going after it. He's not going to get there. Devin Smith was the intended target, but Villanova will punt.
Yeah, I think Connor Watkins had more time than he thought there. His running backs did a good job stepping up and taking on the blitzers. And he had a pocket for him there. He just got rid of that a little too quickly. Smith had no separation.
So back to punt one more time for Villanova is Ethan Getman. And
see if he can pin the... That one straight up in the air. He's going to need a bounce here.
End over end, calling for a fair catch and making it at the 21-yard line is UNH. And that's McKinney who will get, or rather, that's DJ Johnson who will get things started. Joey Corcoran, as a matter of fact, the other 15 for UNH. So it's Corcoran who makes the fair catch at the 21, and just under 3 minutes gone by here in the third quarter. Villanova's defense will go to work for the first time here in the second half against Barry Kleinpeter. 5 for 9 for 59 yards through the air was Kleinpeter. 73 yards on the ground for New Hampshire rushing, largely through Miles Thomason, who had 44 yards. Kleinpeter was just as good on the ground as he was through the air, 28 yards, including a 26-yard scamper. UNH runs the ball, and a flag flies from the backfield.
It's probably going to be an illegal formation or an illegal shift, I would think.
See what the call is here on first down. Officials are going to converse here early on in this third quarter of play. 2 penalties for 20 yards for UNH.
Offense, 2 players in motion.
And now 3 for 25.
Penalty. First down.
Villanova had 7 penalties for 44 yards. Too many.
Yeah. And you said that first drive they had 15 yards.
It will start on the ready for
Villanova
play.
averages about 6.5 penalties per game, so more in the first half of this one than they had on average all season long. That's not a good recipe.
Yeah, so this puts New Hampshire behind the sticks a little bit, back to the 16-yard line on 1st and 15.
This UNH team looking for their first win over Villanova since 2019. Last year, Villanova dispatched them 45-33 in an offensive shootout. This one, anything but. As Barry Kleinpeter trying to get this UNH offense started. Back to the ground again. Thomason had a little hole, but not that much there.
Yeah, he'll get it out to about the 18, so pick up 2. So 2nd down and 13. Brendan Bell in on the tackle with a bunch of his buddies.
Thomason came into today with 10 rushing attempts all season long. His number just got called for the 10th time today.
This is a big down here because, but if you can put them in 3rd and long, I like Villanova's chances. You can get after them a little bit. You know, if they pick up 7 or 8 here and then it's in the 3rd and manageable, you'd love to see an incomplete pass here or a short run, make it 3rd more than 10.
Whedon's starting to pick up with a little bit more fervor. Kleinpeter off of his back foot, couldn't link up with his intended target. That was number 86, Peyton Strickland.
Yeah,
just has 1 catch this year.
It was good pressure off the edge there by Chuck Smith.
So Kleinpeter forced into another one of these obvious passing downs that they've been trying to avoid. UNH has just started halves very poorly the past couple of games. Just 5 points in the first half, the last 2.
And they're going to be punting into the wind. The Wildcats can get a stop here. They should get decent field position.
But it's the third quarter that has really been the issue for UNH. They've been outscored in this quarter 66-31 over the course of their first 7 games. Kleinpeter through the air, dangerous pass into some traffic flag flies in the backfield. That might be another rough in the passer.
It is. It's going to be another roughing the passer call. Just a bad play. If this is what the call is, it's a bad play by Villanova.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 96.
Yeah, that's just undisciplined from Villanova. They had themselves off the field.
Wow, that's a huge call. Let's see it here. Let's see the play here.
Yeah, he's right up there in that head and face area. You can't do that.
He's got his hand on the face mask. Probably more of a face mask, but then the quarterback went down. So a huge penalty there.
that was something that was a point of emphasis in the past couple of years around college football. In terms of that roughing the passer, we talked about it earlier, the head and neck area of the quarterback, even if it's not late, being protected. And that is a call that Villanova fans obviously won't like, but is the right call that time.
They bail out the New Hampshire offense, which would have been punting from inside their own 10.
And Klein Peter will look to go through the air, throws it over the middle, and that's caught by Ramshaw.
What a play by Ramshaw. That's a great catch.
The sophomore from just down the road, Londonderry, New Hampshire.
That's good coverage by Hartzell. This is a better catch. Did about 8 or 9 on first down.
Klein Peter with the play action to nobody in particular, but then threw a strike to Ramshaw.
2 hands extended away from his body. He's able to corral it.
First catch of the day for the sophomore, number 9 on the season for him, and it's second down and short. As UNH tries to capitalize on the penalty. In motion goes Drew Danson. On the ground goes Thomason. He's got the first down. And is out near midfield. This UNH offense that can capitalize on those missed opportunities for Villanova to get off the field.
Yeah, had him at third down and got an incompletion. And the penalty keeps the drive alive.
This Villanova team trying to go to 6-2 on the season. Ended up 10-3 last year, 7-1 in conference play a season ago. The loss to Albany in conference play. And all the way to the quarterfinals in the NCAA tournament before losing to an absolute wagon in South Dakota State. It's tough to beat that team last year. Trying to avoid their second consecutive conference loss. Back to Thomason again, left side, he's got a seam this time. Thomason out towards the 40, important tackle. I think Goodman got a piece of him enough to bring him down.
And they've been able to get some things on the edge. You know, they've been trying to run between the tackles. It didn't have much success there, but they've been getting the ball out on the edges where they've been able to make some yardage. Potter gets blown out of there, and then just a good job of cutting it back. Not good gap containment by the Wildcat secondary.
One of the longest rushes of the day for Thomason. 15 yards as long of the day. It's a different 16-yard scurry, and he's up to 65 yards on the ground. And New Hampshire's up to 94 on the afternoon. We talked about it, 4 straight games with 100 yards or fewer on the ground. They're going to eclipse that, it looks like, pretty soon. Thomason trying to do just that right now. Runs into a caravan, though,
that time,
of Villanova defenders.
Good job by Waxter that time. He set the edge, and then Bell filled his gap, and there was nowhere for him to go. Much better gap containment by the Wildcat defense there. Good job by Waxter to set the edge. Not going to let him get outside. See Waxter here. See, don't let him get outside, and he has to force it back in, and there's Hartzell and the rest of the guys.
Was working on Lamorris and was able to beat him on that occasion.
It's only a 1-yard gain, second down 9.
Logan Tomlinson split out towards the left. Remember, he had that great high point catch back in the first half. Physical wide receiver to keep an eye on. Working on Waxter one-on-one. Play action rolling out to the right, and it's a screen back over towards the left for Thomason. He's got a little bit of space near the first down marker. He stepped out of bounds about 2 yards short to the 31.
Hartzell had a shot at him. Potter was coming off that edge. You know, they threw behind where the blitzer was coming from, so they had a chance to make some plays. You watch Potter coming in, you'll see him come off the edge there, and then what they do is they just throw behind him. Potter unable to get a hand on that ball there.
Smart play design.
Yep, and then Hartzell just missed him, and he got it up to make it 3rd and 2. So the Wildcats can force a 4th down here.
It would be about a 49-yard field goal into the win. Mazey's season long, as we said, 52. So that's right on the edge of field goal range, but UNH would love a first down here to keep the chains moving. To the right side, the pass goes. It is caught to the edge, tiptoeing the sideline, staying in bounds. That's Caleb Burke, the junior from Pennsylvania, back at his home Commonwealth on homecoming.
Let's see where they mark him out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark him out at the 26.
Yeah, they marked him out a ways from when he finished his run.
So he got the first down by about 3 yards.
Right there. Yeah. Officials were right there on the spot, and they tried to keep running for another 10 yards. But Burke with over 450 yards through the air so far this year catching.
But now you would think they're in field goal range, even with this win.
This is still a solid, even if you account 10 yards for the wins, you're on the edge of Mazey's range. Klein Peter will take it himself on the ground, calling his own number, and he's got 4 or 5. But again, this is all that UNH needs, these critical mass of 5 or 6 yard rushes.
Yeah, stay ahead of the sticks, yep. And remember, all this because of Villanova roughing the passer penalty. They would have gotten off the field. It would have been 4th down and about 12.
Put a star next to that play if UNH ends up coming back to take the lead and going on to win this contest. As Wildcat team trying to take the air out of the game, trying to add to some time of possession. By far, they've got
especially going against the wind. They'll have the wind in the 4th quarter, so they're eating up a lot of clock here, keeping the ball out of Villanova's hands.
The edge of over 6 minutes in terms of the time of possession for UNH so far today. Kleinpeter again, option over towards the left side. Thomason receiving the pitch. Well, Navy got absolutely destroyed today by Notre Dame, and that was something that would come out of the midshipmen's playbook.
They're going to pick up a couple, get it down to the 20, be 3rd down and 4.
Great story, though, both Army and Navy running the triple option, undefeated, coming into play today. Thomason able to get inside the 20. They'll mark it right at the 20, actually. There'll be an important 3rd down and 4.
Big play here.
UNH only averages about 29 minutes of possession per game, but they have been hogging the football so far.
They go with that 4 wide. We've seen them throw the peg, and Thomason comes back into the backfield.
UNH has been hogging the football so far today. That long 7-minute drive that resulted in 3. Thomason trying to get there. He doesn't. Stood up that time.
Good
right
job.
in the center by Brendan Bell, the Wildcats' leading tackler.
And here comes the field goal unit, so they'll try to take and make this a 7-6 game. Good job by Bell. They're going to lose about a yard, so this will make this one put it down at about the 28, so a 38-yarder.
Bell's 6th tackle of the day. 3 of them have been for a loss. And now Nick Mazie.
Try to make it a 1-point game.
8 for 10 on field goals so far this year. A 37-yard attempt is up. It is no good. Pushed it left.
So the Wildcats get a stop as Mazie pushes this ball left. Looked like the operation was good. He made good contact with it, just pushed it.
So Villanova gets off the field and it remains a 7-3 score. Wildcats offense back to work when we return. Villanova Stadium, a big stop for the Villanova defense. And earlier on this week, Tessa and I got the chance to catch up with a big member of that defense, Tyrell Mims. Here's Tessa with more on the conversation.
And when we spoke with senior Tyrell Mims this week, we asked him, what are you guys going to do to put pressure on this talented UNH offense? And he says, what we really have to do is keep them off schedule. We know how they want to attack, and we want to attack them by trying to make them uncomfortable and do things that they don't want to do. We know their whole team overall and what they want to do to us. So honestly, it's coming out here, putting the pressure on them. We're both coming off losses, so it's kind of 2 both vulnerable teams, but it's exactly how we play against them.
Well, that ball just came out. A big play by the UNH defense. Appreciate that, Tessa. And UNH will appreciate the big play by Duncan Moreland, the senior, who just stripped Villanova of the ball. And the Wildcats give it right back to the Wildcats. UNH with a big play defensively after the missed field goal.
Watkins had probably picked up just about the 1st down. He just ripped it right out of his hands. It's probably his best run all game. He's got about 9 yards, and you just see the defender comes in 14. You see him just rip it right out of Watkins' hand. That's his 2nd fumble of the day. Duncan Moreland comes away with it.
What a play for the senior from Beverly, Massachusetts. Already has an interception this season, and his 2nd takeaway of 2024 is a huge one. And UNH right back where they started.
Yeah, just much like Bell, he caused the fumble and recovered it as Bell did in the 1st half. So the Wildcat defense back out there, asked to get another stop.
The former Salem New Player of the Year out of high school with a big play defensively for UNH. And now here is Thomason one more time trying to bounce it back out towards the middle. He's near the 1st down marker. Boy, oh boy, what a change in momentum for UNH.
They had him stopped right at the line of scrimmage. He just kind of kept his feet moving, kept his eyes upfield, picked up 8. So a big chunk on 1st down.
Duncan Moreland, who played just 4 games last season, has appeared in all but 1 this season, and has come up with a huge play in this one. Had an interception in the game against Elon, a 17-10 victory. And now a huge turnover here and a 7-3 score late in the 3rd. Barry Kleinpeter trying to lead this team to the end zone for the first time today. Calls his own number. He's towards the first down marker. He's right there.
Yeah, going to be about a half yard short, I'd say. So it'll be third down and about call it a couple of feet.
This is going to be just a question of where they spot it.
Yeah, so it's almost a full yard. They got to get to the 20.
So Villanova has played their best defense today when they have had their backs against the wall. As Tessa was saying, both of these teams know exactly what they need to do, which is get the other team off schedule. UNH has been on schedule here this drive to get to third and short. Thomason again. Thomason's got it.
Yeah, a little body lean late. They're going to give it to him.
First down for UNH inside the 20 is ticked down. You can see at the bottom of your screen to 2.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. The time of possession discrepancy. UNH 27 minutes, Villanova 14 minutes. They've nearly doubled them up.
Yeah, and it wears down your defense, especially late in the game here.
It's not a terribly hot day, but that amount of time.
Yeah, just got to defend that many plays. And it's been a physical game because there's been a lot of running. It hasn't been a lot of, passes out wide. It's been a lot of runs in between the tackles for both teams.
Klein-Peters 8 for 13 through the air. Back to Thomason. To the right side this goes. Bouncing out a little bit further against Goodman. And Goodman drags him down.
I thought Ty Trin got held on that play out wide. No call. Going to pick up about 6 on first down.
Trin wearing number 9 in Villanova blue, the graduate student.
You'll see him fill here from the top of the screen. I thought 8 got a grab on him. Now that's probably a good play. Just kind of pushed him inside.
So it'll be 2nd and 4 for this UNH offense that can ill afford to settle for 3 in these kinds of spots. Remember the 4th and goal situation where Klein-Peter got stood up at the goal line earlier on. Villanova with a couple of goal line stands already. Klein-Peter himself, or rather that is into the middle for Thomason. He's got the first down.
So it's going to be 1st and goal from just inside the 10.
Good play fake. Pull me up here in the broadcast booth. So it will be 1st and goal for UNH, not for the first time today. Check that. That was Denzel Gibson, the power back. And Gibson's rush inside the 10 with a gain of 5. To the final minute of the third quarter. Wonder if UNH will just try to get this to the fourth quarter when they have the wind at their backs.
Yeah, they do need to run at least one more play.
Play clock down to 5. Keep an eye on that at the bottom of your screen. Klein-Peter asking for the ball. He does get it back for Gibson. Powering his way in towards the 5. Keeps the legs churning, but the whistle will blow it dead.
They're going to put him around the 6.5.
And UNH will jog right over towards the sidelines. They're not going to bother running another play. Everyone putting 4 fingers in the air. The deficit is 4. We're headed to quarter number 4 here on the main line. 10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It won't be contested. And UNH is going to have 2nd and goal on Villanova's 7-yard line for the final 15 minutes of play. Winner goes to 3-1 in the CAA, and their chances of a conference championship very much alive. The number 13 team in the nation trying to hold off this run by their fellow Wildcats from UNH. Fourth quarter coming up next on the Villanova Sports Network.
minutes of play here in regulation on the main line. After 3 quarters of play, when Mark Ferrante's team at Villanova has been leading, they are 46-4, but it's just a 4-point margin. And UNH is knocking on the door, 2nd and goal at the 7. Klein-Peter is in the shotgun. Thomason gets ahead of steam, bounces over towards the left, and is tackled down at the 2 or the 3.
It looks like they'll mark him at the 3, so 3rd down and goal here.
In this kind of spot, got to be thinking 7 for UNH.
Yeah,
Would it be surprised if Nick Mazie came out?
I'm just surprised they haven't done anything wide. They've tried to, kind of stick the ball in the belly of the back, and they've been knocking on this door, and Villanova's just had an answer every time. Just see, at some point, they're going to have to try something out wide, I would think.
Even if they get stopped here on 3rd down, you imagine Nick Mazie's going to still be sitting over there on the sideline.
They're going to bring Gibson in, the bigger of the 2 backs here on 3rd down.
To the left of Klein-Peter. 2 receivers on the bottom of your screen. Klein-Peter is going to call his own number, trying to get the edge on the left, makes a move, gets ripped to the ground. That's number 34, Ethan Potter, making a big play.
So one of the Wildcats is down. Now it's Rick Santos has a decision to make. Do you want to cut it to a 1-point game, or do you go for it here on 4th and goal from the 3?
On the field.
And as you heard, and as Steve said, there is an injured Villanova Wildcat. Get one more look at the pursuit from Potter.
Just get off his block and then just take an angle where you can get to the QB and then wrap him up and then throw him to the ground.
But the attention right now is on that injured Villanova Wildcat. He's laying on his back, so can't quite make out a number.
Looks like
that's Mims.
Terrell Mims.
That is
one of their starting corners.
Heard from Tessa about what he had to say about this Villanova defense. He was fired up in our conversation, knowing what needed to be done today against a stout UNH team, especially up front.
Zamir Daoud would probably replace him.
Rest of this Villanova team and UNH team's getting something of a free timeout here ahead of 4th and goal.
Rick Santos has got some extra time to figure out what he wants to do here, if he wants to go for it. I might take the 3 here. Just make this a field goal game. You haven't been able to get the ball in the end zone the whole game. Give yourself an opportunity with the wind in the 4th quarter to just kick a field goal and win the game.
And in addition to that, if it's a 1-point game, a touchdown doesn't kill you for UNH if Villanova is able to go and score.
14-6 only makes it an 8-point difference where you still have an opportunity.
Well, Mims, good news, is able to get back to his feet. He's walking back over to the sideline.
You can't really tell if it's a kind of walking gingerly, if it's a lower body injury or something else.
Oh, he certainly, we don't want to speculate, but we do want to hope that Tyrell Mims is okay. He's able to get back over there with only a little bit of help. Now he's walking on his own power, thankfully.
They're gonna go for it. And the thing is, too, if you don't make it, you've got Villanova pinned deep, and your defense has been playing great. But I just think they tried something wide, so let's see what they go here. Maybe something to swing something out.
Thomason is the back. Tomlinson and Corcoran are the wide receivers.
Got some good size out here in their receivers.
Danson in motion. Klein-Peter rolling out to his right. Klein-Peter trying to get towards the edge. Klein-Peter's going to be stopped short again. Villanova's defense holds strong.
That's Ice Waxter coming up from his cornerback position. They say cornerbacks don't like to play the run. Ice Waxter, no problem playing the run. Come off his man and gets a stop, and the Wildcats get their 2nd stop inside the 5 today.
Ice in his veins, the biggest defensive play of the day for Villanova.
He came off his receiver and made the play.
Barry Klein-Peter trying to do it with his legs. Nothing opened up through the air.
They're marking that ball at the 1. I guess, to me, it looks like it should be out past the 2, but just in case here, you don't want to give up a safety.
That's the subplot, but the headline is Villanova's defense with their 2nd goal line stand of the day. And now Connor Watkins is pinned deep with Abbott on his right hip. They'll give it to Abbott, looking for a way out of the end zone. He'll keep the legs churning out towards the 5.
Good job by Abbott there. That gives you some breathing room. They were right at the 1-yard line. He picks up 4 on 1st down.
That does just kind of open things up a little bit.
They run, you see they pull the guard and the tackle here, try to get the tight end involved as well. And see Abbott, just good leg drive, hold on to that football, get it out to the 5. As I say, when you get backed up like this, man, you need to make a 1st down. Get it out past the 10, and then you can feel like, okay, we got room for our punter. Now let's go and try to create something after that.
Only 6 different players today for Villanova have either rushed or caught a pass for some yards. It's been a far tighter rotation for Villanova here in this
low-scoring affair.
That one's defended much better. They only get 2 there on second down, so it's going to be 3rd down and 4.
And the depth for Villanova has been one of the strong points. 12 different players with a rush or reception for 20 yards or more.
Have a lineman down. It looks like
that's Kyle Fay.
Yeah, 67. Kyle Fay, the right tackle.
Redshirt freshman from Cranford, New Jersey. Ryan Cregan would back him up.
We'll be in to replace him.
And that's 79. You can see walking out
media timeout on the field
in the area. So that injury timeout will become a media timeout as well. With 12:52 to go in the 4th quarter, Villanova trying to put away a New Hampshire team that has not gone away. Here on the main line of the Villanova Sports Network. We welcome you back here to Villanova Stadium. A low-scoring affair, 7-3 here between a couple of Wildcats. This is not the only game going on in the CAA, though. A bunch of games have already gone final. The 2 league leaders, Richmond and Rhode Island, extending their conference record to 4-0. Hampton with a big win over Elon as well.
And that's Wildcats' next opponent. They'll travel down to Norfolk, Virginia to take on Hampton next weekend. Stony Brook with a 28-13 lead over William & Mary. Delaware with a win over Albany.
Seawolves have put together a really solid season this year. Albany is next for UNH. They'll be on the road up in upstate New York. Watkins on the run. Pass caught along the right side. There's Devin Smith.
And a big first down for the Wildcats. Good execution there. It was a confident roll, a confident throw by Watkins, a good grab by Smith. You'd like to see the Wildcats build some momentum. You know, they've had some struggles on offense. Watkins has fumbled the ball twice, but here's a good rollout, good accurate throw, and a big first down.
Just the second catch of the day for Smith, but it's a big one. And Villanova set up once again with a first down here on their own 17. 2 catches for Smith for about 40 yards. Watkins through the air again, looking for Sanchez, a little bit behind him, but he was able to make the catch, and he'll be pushed with a little help from his friends for another first down.
Yeah, and that push got him the best past the sticks, and it's the Wildcats now out past the 30-yard line. They're like trying to say the ball came out. The New Hampshire guys are all pointing towards their end, but it looks like they're going to mark them down. I haven't seen any signal from the officials. They'll say it's Villanova football. They probably stopped his forward progress when all this pushing and shoving was going on.
That's a great catch from Sanchez. That throw, as you can see, was just a little bit behind him and was able to adjust while making his run and running his route.
Trying to think of when the last time the Wildcats went with back-to-back pass plays.
5 for 11 now for Watkins, 77 yards through the air. Now Watkins on the ground himself. He's got plenty of green grass in front of him. He's out towards midfield, and he'll slide out towards the midfield line, and he will get right to the 50.
The Wildcats have taken this out from their own 1 out to midfield. And Ben, you put one in the end zone here, you really put yourself in a situation where you're up 11 with probably 7-8 minutes to go. The way your defense is playing, you feel pretty good about it, but they got a long way to go before that happens. Still got half a field to cover. But good blend of play calls here by Chris Bowden. I like the went back-to-back pass, then the keep with Watkins. They've been able to get some chunk first down plays.
Connor Watkins, you can sense, is starting to find a little bit of a groove at just the right time.
Ragland in the backfield here with him.
Ragland has 5 rushes for 21 yards. Watkins, for the second straight time, will call his own number. He'll get 3 or so this time. But even this will draw more and more players into the box for UNH.
And then maybe get some more one-on-one coverage outside, and maybe you can hit one to Smith or to Sanchez like we've seen on this drive.
And that will also keep that clock moving here at Villanova Stadium. Down to the final 10 minutes of regulation. What has been an absolute slugfest between a couple of defenses that have come to play. Ross Pennypacker's defense for Villanova has conceded just the 3 points.
Big down here, 2nd and 7. You love to pick up a chunk. There's Jabril Mace out in space.
And with a little head of steam and with a little burst of speed as well down towards the 20, a big play for Mace. His longest rush of the season will get down to the 22, a gain of 28.
And that's a huge play from the young redshirt freshman. You talk about he might be the fastest player on this Villanova team. Watch him turn it upfield. Find a hole and then beat it right through the gap. And a good job holding on to the football at the end of the run to get the Wildcats down into the red zone.
They'll officially give him 24. What remains the longest run of the season for Mason, a really consequential one too. Because all of a sudden Villanova is set up near the red zone. Connor Watkins trying to capitalize. Watkins will go back to the air towards the right side. Nolan Clayton shoved out of bounds inside the 20.
Just another thing for the New Hampshire defense to think about. They don't throw the ball to tight end very often. They get one out to Clayton. He gets a nice pickup on first down, about 3 or 4 yards.
That play action starting to pay a little bit of dividends. Clayton was hit hard out of bounds by Wanda Owens. Wanda Owens, I should say. Graduate student who's the leading tackler
this is
for UNH.
About the spot on the field, Ben, when they hit Kopecky last time. He's got one-on-one coverage at the top of the screen.
Keep an eye on number 16 in the Villanova blue. Watkins looking left this time, though, looking for Devin Smith. End zone. Did he catch that?
Mojo going, any momentum at all in the defense. You're going to say, can the defense win this thing 7-3? And then you put a drive together like that. You talk about, hey, the big play, the 3rd down to Smith that he caught. That was a big play back. They got him out past the 15-yard line. And then the Sanchez catch, then the great run by Mace, and then the beautiful catch by Smith.
Their second 90-plus yard scoring drive of the season. Had one against Stony Brook to open things up. That was a Kopecky catch. This was a Smith catch that is going to be on some highlight reels over the course of the next week.
And you're talking, it's one-on-one coverage, and you just throw the ball up there and let your receiver make a play for you. And boy, did he make a play. One-handed grab.
Hope that we see that on Carly Smith's CAA rewind over the course of the next week or so. Carly, keep a star next to that play. Save it, download it to your computer, get that on the show next week.
And now what you got to do is you got to cover kicks here.
This is Into the Wind, which has been eventful, we shall say, over the course of this contest. These kinds of kickoffs, that's a live ball that's got to be picked up by the 5-yard line towards the 10-yard line more like, and but trying to bounce out towards the left side, not really with any sort of space to operate.
And that was a very effective kickoff by Getman. It bounced around and got the, it gives his men a chance to get downfield and cover the kick, and New Hampshire now have to go 80 yards.
Well, there's still plenty of time for UNH.
The returner's knee was down at the 11-yard line. It'll be first down, UNH at the 11-yard line.
Mental mistake from Meade.
Yeah, so the Wildcats pick up 9 yards on that miscue.
This is, as we said, not a UNH team that is really built to.
Let's see if you can see the knee go down
to come
here.
Back.
That's
yeah,
a
right
good
there.
call, yep.
This is a UNH team that is built to kind of grind you down. They have gotten into a couple of really dangerous situations, but a couple
if you're the Villanova defense,
goal line stands.
You can't let up, Ben. You've been playing so well all game. You can't say, oh, we got a 2-score lead, and then kind of put your foot on the brake. You got to keep on that front foot, stay on the gas. And Mims is back in the game, and nice to see here on the corner spot down below on the bottom part of your screen.
Barry Kleinpeter going to have to go through the air more. He finds his favorite target, Tomlinson, for a gain of around 8 or 9 or so. There is still time for UNH.
That's an effective play on first down for UNH. You get Kleinpeter some confidence throwing the ball. You pick up 7 or 8 yards. And they're kind of hurrying up to get over the football here. Both teams still with 3 timeouts. As Ben said, a ton of time left.
3 times UNH has gotten the ball down inside the Villanova 5. It has resulted in a total of 3 points, including 2 turnovers on downs. Kleinpeter on the ground again, gets hammered to the ground. Hartzell was part of that.
I think Chuck Smith in there as well, 97. Yeah. That's a lineman's dream. He kind of spun right back into his arms. Smith able to get him to the ground.
Hartzell has 17 tackles today.
And what's he doing in the second half? I think he had 13 at halftime. Not doing much. He's played great. Only kidding, obviously. But he had 2 games worth in the first half.
Just about double the next leading tackler, and a big tackle here along the right side. Brendan Bell again.
We talk about Hartzell and Bell all day. The 2 linebackers for this team picking up for Richie Kimmel, who's out, has been Turner Ainge. But look at this. Just a good job by Bell to get in the backfield.
And UNH will have to punt. Kleinpeter kind of hesitated to see if UNH was going to roll the dice.
At 4th and 8, probably the right decision here. You got to hope that you get a fumble or a turnover at some point, because the Wildcats can, if they can run for a couple first downs, can really take the air out of this game.
Back to punt again goes Lehane.
Maddox back.
It's a good end-over-end punt. Maddox will call for a fair catch, and he'll make it at his own 41-yard line.
I think a good decision there by Maddox. Get underneath the football, catch it. You got great field position. Now you just got to go out and you got to put the ball on the ground and run for some first downs here.
Oh, Villanova will talk this over about how to attack the final 6 minutes and 29 seconds. What has been a game has been dominated time of possession-wise by UNH. It's Villanova who's going to try to eat up some clock here. And UNH has had the ball in 13 more minutes than Villanova.
Yeah, now the big key here is you got young running backs. It's ball security. You got to take care of the football here, because if you do what you're supposed to, UNH is probably going to need a turnover or a short field at some point. So if you can take care of the football, you can really put New Hampshire in a box.
Villanova's fumbled it twice today. UNH has once as well. Getting the call is Ragland. He gets about 6.
Good effective play on first down. Clock continues to churn. Under 6:20 to go here. 4th quarter. Wildcats lead 14-3.
You talk about staying on schedule with the ground game. Ragland and Abbott so far this season both average 6 or 7 yards per carry. They make sure that they keep the legs churning and turn 3 or 4 yard carries into the second level 6 or 7 yard.
Yeah, Ragland and Mace both in the ball game, split next to Watkins.
Abbott's the leading rusher with 58 yards today. As a team, 140 yards on the ground for Villanova, 112 through the air for Watkins. It's Mace this time along the right side, navigating some traffic. He's right near that first down marker.
He's got it. He does. The linesman down in front of us signals first down. You know, Mace not the biggest guy out there, but good leg drive on that one. He was contacted about the 49, was able to drag him for 2 more yards and pick up an all-important first down, which should eat a couple of more minutes off this clock.
Down to
Wildcats
5.5
should be in no hurry. Play clock at 24. They should want to run this thing down under 5 before they snap the football.
Villanova averages a little over 6 yards per play. UNH is at 3.9.
Abbott back in the game at tailback.
That is, of course, buoyed by the 31-yard reception for Smith, the 25-yard catch, the touchdown for Kopecky. That'll change those averages a little bit.
Wildcats do a good job. They run the thing all the way down to 1. Abbott gets blown up in the backfield, so there'll be a loss of yards there. Bring up second down and 11, but the clock continues to churn. Under 5 minutes to go.
Yes, it will. That clock continues to move here as the sun starts to set on homecoming Saturday. And Villanova trying to make sure it's a happy homecoming.
Now, at some point, I think Rick Santos has to start thinking about taking his timeouts. You know, because you're going to need the ball twice, but you're probably going to have to onside kick when you score. So if you don't recover, it's going to be over. And this thing's going to be under 4 minutes if he doesn't take a timeout.
You got the full complement of timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout. But it is getting late pretty early here for UNH. Back to the ground one more time. It's going to be just about all that for Villanova the rest of the way. Gain of about 2 from Abbott to get back to the original line of scrimmage. Third down.
And no timeout from New Hampshire.
Maybe you think about one here if you are able to force fourth down. If you're not, that is a bit of a waste.
Yeah, and if the Wildcats can execute a successful punt, you're going to have 80 or 90 yards to go, even if you don't make the first down here. It would not be. Looks like Villanova might even just run this thing down to 1 and take a timeout. They don't seem to be too eager to get into the huddle.
Ethan Getman has put 8 punts so far this year inside the 20.
I see Mark Ferrante next to the linesman. I think they're going to run the play clock down to 1, and Villanova will take a timeout, decide what they want to do on 3rd and long.
That's exactly what they're going to do. First timeout taken by Villanova. And you're in one of these kinds of situations where if you don't get much of anything, it's just a 30-second timeout. We're going to stick with you. If you don't get anything and you go on the ground again and it's 4th and 9 from about this spot, you might take that to delay a game penalty, give yourself a little extra room.
Yeah, and I have no interest in throwing the football right here. This is a run play no matter what. It's 3rd and 9. And I'm not pitching the ball. This might be a Connor Watkins keeper or just stick it in the belly of the back. And if New Hampshire decides not to use their timeouts, which I think would be a mistake, you're going to get this thing under 3 minutes to go.
As few moving parts as possible, I think, will be what Villanova will want to do on this offensive play.
And then you just got to execute the punt, because I would think New Hampshire's going to come after it. They need to come up with some kind of play like that.
It's worth noting, by the way, Villanova, talk about the CAA implications of this one. 3-1, we already saw the Rhode Island and Richmond victories. Villanova does not get either of those teams this year. They won't get to knock off the leaders by themselves. They'll need some help. Hampton, NC at Monmouth, and then the big one at home against Delaware to end the season. That'll be on November the 23rd. Circle your calendars. Watkins is going to go to the air looking for a first down that would end it, and he's going to get sacked, and that's not the worst case scenario for Villanova.
It's actually much better than him throwing the ball away. And the one thing that did eat up a little bit of clock. And New Hampshire's not calling timeout. I think this is a mistake by Rick Santos. You cannot let 40 seconds run off the clock here, down 2 scores.
We'll see if Villanova is going to just take a delay game penalty and give Ethan Getman a little room.
Ben, I would actually take a timeout and not take the 5 yards. Just run it down to 1 if you want. That's your case, and take another timeout. But this thing's going to run under almost 240 before they have to punt the football. I just think a mistake by Rick Santos not to take a timeout there.
It can get down to 2:38. You're doing the math. Clock all the way down to 4 seconds. They are going to punt it away, and Getman gets it away. It's a high end-over-end punt that will be returned, but not for much.
Good job by Sanchez and Timmy Ferguson down there to cover the kick.
Corcoran got maybe 1 or 2. Taking another chance just to advance the ball.
We might have roughed the kicker here. Let's see what they called.
Oh, that would just about end it.
Getman took a shot. They came after the punt. Let's see if it's 5 yards or 15. Looks like
running into the kicker defense. That penalty is declined. It'd be first down.
Yeah, last thing you want to do is re-kick and have chances for so much else to go wrong.
Yeah, what I think they should do here is take 5 yards off the return. I think that would be the right play. I think that's a fair, instead of declining the penalty. To move them back 5 should be an option for the team that was roughed. So 2:34 to go here. Now it's you can't get hit with a big play. You got to keep everything in front of you.
The long play through the air has been 25 yards for New Hampshire. You also get in a spot where you have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
If you get down close, you might think about kicking pretty early.
Yeah, just to give yourself some time, maybe onside kick. If you don't recover, use your timeouts.
Yeah, you're going to need the kick and the score and the 2-point conversion anyways.
And the wind has kind of died down, so the wind that was helping early on is still helping, but not as much.
Klein Peter looking over the middle. It's out of the reach of his intended target, Ramshaw.
That'll bring up 2nd and 10 and stops the clock.
Well, Ramshaw was in the middle of the field. Don't think he would have gotten a first down, so you'd almost take the incompletion over the completion for 7 or 8 in the middle of the field.
Yeah, and that either forces you to use a timeout or get it quickly over the football.
9 for 15 is Klein Peter today for 87 yards. The 3rd-string quarterback forced into the start, who was just 1 for 5 for 9 yards in his career coming into play today. 3-step drop for Klein Peter, looking over the middle. It is almost intercepted. That was Caleb Moody who was on the spot.
He did a really good job breaking on the football there, and just unfortunate for him, he bumped right into the New Hampshire wide receiver, or he would have had himself a pick.
The Harvard transfer with a smart play to read the route.
And there's a Wildcat that's down, one of their defensive backs.
It's a Villanova Wildcat who is down. I think that's Waxter.
So that's going to bring up 3rd and 10. Now Waxter's up, so it's not him. I do see him at about the 33-yard line. Good pressure there. Good job by, who was that, Smith coming around the end?
Yes, it was with Hartzell.
Yeah, just a good break on the ball, but he ran right into the receiver who did a good job. I think that was Burke who kind of ended up breaking it up. That's Ty Trin, I believe, 9 getting up.
9,
see him here kneeling down on the far side of the screen. He's walking off. Hopefully he'll be okay.
Graduate student safety with an interception this season. He's been a big part of the secondary for Villanova.
Yeah, seen with the team Dr. Michael Duncan walking him off.
It's a 3rd and 10, but it's going to be 4-down territory for UNH. No sense in punting now. Klein Peter 9 for 16. Has looked a little deeper than he normally has.
So Christian Sapp will come in at one safety spot. And they're taking Trent into the locker room.
And Moody out there in the secondary as well for Villanova after the great pass breakup. His 2nd of the season. Klein Peter feeling some pressure, rolling out to his left, throwing over the middle, caught. That's Tomlinson for the first down. Flag flies.
I see a late flag. Let's see if this is it's going to be probably pass interference. Let's see if it's on the offense or the defense. Holding on the defense, I think it's going to be.
Yeah, so they'll decline that.
Take the first down.
UNH will.
Holding. Defense, number 7. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is the first down.
Out towards the 34. Good strike thrown by Klein Peter to get to 100 yards. 3rd catch of the day for Tomlinson. He's got 45 through the air.
Wildcats coming a whole new defensive line. Get some fresh legs in there to get after the quarterback.
Clock keeps running after the first down and the penalty. 2 minutes and counting. Klein Peter wants another play before the 2-minute timeout. Looking right, throwing right. Tomlinson's got it. Got past the first defender, and he's out past the first down marker.
That's going to take us to the 2-minute timeout. It looks like Mims went for the interception and didn't get it.
And after gambling and coming up short, the 2-minute timeout will hit with UNH driving on their own 45, down 2 scores, but on the move, trying to mount a dramatic comeback. Will we come back to the finale between a couple of Wildcats slugging it out on the Villanova Sports Network?
In moments of vulnerability, it's only human to seek warmth and expertise. Mainline Health is the place where both your health and humanity matter, where ultrasounds come with understanding, where tests are met with tenderness, where EKGs are as important as empathy, the place where you will never be your only advocate, the place for a lifetime of care delivered neighbor to neighbor. Mainline Health, where human care has a home.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
Down the stretch we go as the lights come on here at Villanova Stadium. Sun setting on a perfect fall day on the main line. And a great day for a homecoming victory for one of these two teams. Villanova on the ascendancy. They lead 14-3, but it's UNH who is driving on their own 45 after a couple of solid completed passes by Barry Kleinpeter, the third-string quarterback for UNH, who is now 11 for 18 for 111 yards. Kleinpeter hasn't made too many big mistakes. He's been forced into a difficult role, obviously, and has gotten this team close a couple times.
I'm not sure how many reps he got all week. Did they know that their quarterback weren't going to be able to go? So, if he got reps all week, and still he just hasn't played a lot. So, practice is one thing. Game speed is something totally different. He's kind of, he hasn't been able to make a big play down the field, and he's still got 2 minutes to go to try to do that. And they're going to need one at some point down 2 scores.
No Seth Morgan with his nearly 1,500 passing yards available today for UNH. So it's up to Kleinpeter, feeling more pressure, launching it down the field for Corcoran. It's incomplete. No flags.
Really good coverage by Mims. He ran with him step for step, and then when he saw the receiver go up with his balls, he put the hands in between them.
Well, I spoke too soon. There's a flag in the backfield.
Look at another
Personal
rough in the
foul,
quarter.
Rough in the passer.
That's the third.
Defense, number 98, 15-yard
That's
penalty.
the third of the day for Villanova.
Yeah, I had my eyes downfield, so I didn't see it, but that's 15 big yards. But
so that will get UNH into plus territory. 3 personal fouls for roughing the passer today. That was Wabodo.
Yeah, Wabodo, and Mark Ferrani's not happy with him. So the referee, I came over and said something to Mark, and this is not a good scene there to give these 15-yard penalties away.
Clock stops as well. $1:54 down to the 40. More pressure put on. Kleinpeter escapes and will take it himself. Headed towards out of bounds. He's shoved out of bounds by Bell.
So he'll pick up about 5, and that'll stop the clock with 1:46 to go. And here comes Ben's thought. We're not quite there yet, but take the field goal, and then you go onside kick, and then you're only down 8.
You also have a big-time weapon in Nick Mazie with that 52-yard range.
And if you really wanted to, you take your chance. You could kick it, and then trust you have 3 timeouts, and maybe get a stop.
And even onside kick and then take the timeouts.
Yeah, let's see. I'm not there yet. I might want to get the
1 or 2 more first downs.
You want
potentially
the 8 first.
But on 4th down, that would potentially be the decision. Kleinpeter back again, looking to throw again, pulls it down, and he's not going to get out of bounds this time.
You're going to have to use that timeout here for sure.
Excellent pursuit from Hartzell.
Yeah, and Hartzell with a good job. Now it's third and about 7.
Timeout.
Maybe 6.
UNH.
First of the 3 timeouts taken
game clock operator,
by New Hampshire. Rick Santos in his 3rd season, as well as the interim head coaching position in 2019. Returning to his alma mater.
Yeah, former Walter Payton Award winner, was a great player. Saw him play here over the years.
One of the most influential quarterbacks in UNH history. Went to 4 playoffs, including leading UNH to its first ever postseason victory over Georgia Southern back in 2004. And now leading the way for this UNH team, trying to get back into the upper echelon of the CAA this year. And looking for a big victory on the road.
Yeah, Ben, I think this is a big 3rd down, but I think an incomplete pass, it's just too far to gamble on a field goal. It's it's going to be 50+ yards. I think you'd probably have to go for it on 4th down. And if you get it inside the 25, I think that's a thought, but not from this distance. Just not a high enough percentage play.
Last year, this team went 6-5 and 4-4 in CAA play, looking to stay above 500 both overall and in their conference play. They're able to pull something out here. Kleinpeter feeling more pressure, throws a strike, and staying in bounds was Caleb Burke.
Yeah, Caleb Burke made a mistake there. Should have gotten out of bounds. Looks like they'll move the sticks. It looks like they're going to try to get over the ball. Still have 2 timeouts left.
The junior Burke with a nice catch, but turned the wrong way to stay in play. And more time will continue to tick off down under a minute and a half to go. Kleinpeter
Again, we'll look to the air. Again, he's flushed out of the pocket and threw it for a completed pass to Gibson.
You're going to have to take a timeout here. Clock is still running.
That's a situation where Kleinpeter will learn to throw that one to his own sideline.
Yeah, that's worse than an incompletion.
Second of the half.
Gain of maybe one.
I think they lost a yard. I'm seeing the sticks over there.
To 1-2-1.
So 1:21 to go here at the 30-yard line. Yeah, they lost a yard there.
All things considered, though, been a really valiant effort for Barry Kleinpeter.
Oh, both teams have really competed hard in this game. Credit to Villanova defense. They 2 goal line stands. Just giving up 3
if you include
points.
the field goal.
You're right. Yeah, and just giving up 3 points the whole game, and just done an outstanding job. And they just need to finish here this 121.
This Villanova defense trying to allow just 3 points for the second game this season. They did so against Colgate.
And New Hampshire now down to 1 timeout. So if they do score, it's got to be an onside kick.
That has not been the prettiest of games for Villanova, but it would count in the record books all the same. After a 45-33 game last year, that is not been what we've had in store this year.
Let's see if Villanova's front can get a little pressure on him.
Kleinpeter's been flushed out of the pocket the last couple of plays. Here comes more pressure. Kleinpeter almost lost his footing. Now rolls out to the right, going for it all for Tomlinson. He is incomplete.
Good job by Waxter. He had the end line as kind of his second defender, forced him all the way out, and then when he went up, got a hand on that ball. Good job by Ice Waxter again.
He's been excellent today. Had that huge tackle on 4th down on one of those goal line stands.
Yeah, so we've seen him defend the run there. You see him defend the pass downfield as well. And that's what they really need. That's a smart play by UNH here. Take your shots in the end zone. It's 3rd down and a bunch here. Call it 11. 2 down territory, obviously.
On Villanova's 30, as UNH has made this at least close late. Again, throwing towards the right side. Nearly picked off. Instead, it's caught. Oh, what a catch that was from Zachary Kim.
It's going to still be 4th down and a bunch. That ball traveled in the air like 10 yards. I think they picked up about 4 or 5 on the play. I mean, I'll give more than that, but it's still 4th down. They're going to bring the field goal unit in. So this is what we talked about. Take the points and then get it to an 8-point game. And then you try onside kick. You have about a minute to go. Maybe get it downfield with 1 timeout.
Hands team getting set for both teams. If this were to go, it'll be a 40-yard attempt for Nick Mazie. With 1:06 to play in regulation, the operation is good, the kick is up, and it is good. So with 1:01 to go, there is an avenue back for UNH.
So now the recovering an onside kick is not optional, it's mandatory for UNH here with 1:01 to go and only 1 timeout. So Villanova, as Ben mentioned, will get their hands team out there.
UNH is 0 for 1 on onside kick attempts this season. It has become increasingly difficult in the past handful of years.
And it's a tall order. You got to recover an onside kick. You got to drive downfield in under a minute and then convert a 2-point play as well to tie the game. But Villanova didn't want all that to happen. All they want to do is recover an onside kick here and then take some knees.
UNH went 57 yards in a minute 33. Credit to Kleinpeter for navigating that drive and at least setting things up.
And also benefited again from a roughing the passer penalty.
UNH with a chance to give themselves a chance.
For some reason, I think Mazie's probably really good at this too. An experienced kicker, he's going to get a good bounce.
The junior has been accurate this season. 17 for 17 on extra points, so he knows how to put it exactly where he needs to in short range situations. Nick Mazie, his onside kick, flag flies. It takes that second bounce and goes out of play. So Villanova will get the ball.
Is Villanova offsides? No. Let's see, Mark Ferrani saying decline it, so I think it's going to be against
UNH might have tried to grab an extra yard or 2 before the kick happened. Now, once it takes that big first bounce, your heart sinks if you're a coach or a fan of the receiving team, but it did take that Villanova bounce out of play.
You have to kick the ball hard, and then it ends up going out of bounds. So let's see what the call is.
Well, the first flag came on the kickoff, and then the second flag, of course, with the ball going out of bounds, that's a penalty. It did go up and over the head of Sanchez, and that...
After further discussion, the receiving team touched the ball before it went out of bounds. There is no foul for free kick out of bounds. However, we had an offside on the kicking team, number 10, That 5-yard penalty be enforced from the out-of-bounds spot. It'll be first down, Villanova.
Villanova's got the ball, and that should do it.
That's all that matters to Villanova. And they saw Mark Ferrani was going to decline it, but they get the 5 yards after the ball went out of bounds. So now it's, can they do the center exchange here 3 times and get out of here with a win?
Villanova will need to run 3 plays, as you said, with the 1 timeout still for UNH. This UNH Wildcat team has battled. They have taken the number 13 team in the nation to the brink into the final minute of this game.
And the number 13 team, if they can take 3 knees, is going to move to 6-2 on the year and 3-1 in the league.
Will be 6-1 in FBS play, assuming everything goes right here in the final minute. First of the 3 successful in the timeout.
New Hampshire does take their timeout.
Timeout. UNH, last of the half. 30-second timeout.
So that'll be just
Game
30
clock
seconds.
Operator, please reset the game clock to 58 seconds.
58 seconds here. The Wildcats will
Thank
take
you.
another knee at, say, 56 seconds. Then they'll have to get the clock under 40. And then they can snap the last one to run out the clock.
What will be the second, make it the third 1-score victory for Villanova this season. Beat 24-17 over Youngstown State in the opener, and then that wild 14-13 roller coaster against Towson.
And not too often at FCS you win 2 games scoring 14 points, but just credit the Villanova defense. That's how good they've been this year. They hold the Towson team to 13, and they're going to hold this New Hampshire team to 6, as long as they can exchange the ball here from Watkins, from Picard to Watkins. And there's one more that'll need to happen.
Yep. Villanova said that they did not meet the standard that they had set in that game up in New England last weekend. And then another team from New England comes to their home field, and Villanova plays its first home game in 4 weeks. And it took a lot of doing. They had to grind it out. But this Villanova team on homecoming Saturday is going to take down New Hampshire 14-6.
That's a really good college football game. 2 teams really competing, physical play, a lot of running of the football, but just 2 teams that really battled. And the Wildcats come out on top, either way, I guess, but the Villanova Wildcats come out on top of a hard-fought victory. Really nice job by both sides of the ball getting it done today.
UNH 254 total yards, Villanova 260 as the final seconds of formality tick off the field. A hard-fought victory for the Villanova Wildcats. We will step aside when we come back. Post-game show coming up as we recap a really good one on the main line. Don't go anywhere. The final score of this one, the number 13 team in the land, Villanova, beats UNH 14-6.
In moments of vulnerability, it's only human to seek warmth and expertise. Mainline Health is the place where both your health and humanity matter, where ultrasounds come with understanding, where tests are met with tenderness, where EKGs are as important as empathy, the place where you will never be your only advocate, the place for a lifetime of care delivered neighbor to neighbor. Mainline Health, where human care has a home.
Home is for making dreams come true, for making memories that will last, for forging lifelong friendships, for watching your loved ones grow. The time is now to find the freedom that comes with pre-qualifying for a new home, or refinance in minutes and unlock the freedom to do the exciting things you've always wanted to do. Whichever path you choose, you can achieve your goals and celebrate the freedom of home ownership with Freedom Mortgage. Start making your dreams a reality at freedommortgage.com/dreams.
And we welcome you back here to Villanova Stadium, where the Villanova Wildcats have taken down the New Hampshire Wildcats by the score of 14-6. And we say hi one more time in the broadcast booth. Steve Pannone, Ben Curtis here with you. Hard-fought victory for Villanova. It took a little bit more doing than I think Mark Ferrante would have wanted. Third-string quarterback for UNH, and he fought hard.
Yeah, he did. But your offense answered with a 99-yard drive. I think something to build off this week in practice. Offense has not played well, but when they needed an answer, they were able to get a 99-yard drive off that great goal line stand from their defense. That was a huge play here in the second half. The only points really to that late field goal by New Hampshire in the whole second half.
And Villanova's defense really strong. Nobody more than in number 31 in blue.
Shane Hartzell was outstanding all day. A couple of goal line hits, and he chased that quarterback down all day long.
20 tackles for Hartzell, and he's standing by with Artessa Pelosa.
Shane, 20 tackles for you today, a career high. What were you able to do defensively to slow them down?
Yeah, our objective every game is always to stop the run. So,
all credit to the D linemen. They're taking on two blocks or more, and, that allows us to play free as linebackers.
You told me just now this game made you a little nervous, right? The back and forth. You knew this is a talented UNH team. How much fun were you having out there, kind of just flying around?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get to play football, it's a fun time. So, I'm just grateful that we have the ability to be out here and compete every day.
Thank you. Congratulations.
What a day it was for Shane Hartzell. 20 tackles, 2 of them for a loss. The stats relatively even. This game, Steve, was won or lost in the final 5 yards of Villanova's field.
Really, the 2 goal line stands that, Ricky Santos looking back on it. Maybe if I take field goals, it's a different game, but credit to Villanova defense. At a 2nd and goal from the 2 and got stops, and another 1st and goal inside the 5, and their defense stepped up to the challenge.
They missed field goal as well on Villanova's own 21. Also played a factor. 125 yards through the air for Klein Peter, 112 through the air for Watkins. Well, it was a busy day for both teams' defenses, and UNH ended up out first downing Villanova 18-14. Those penalties for Villanova, something Mark Ferrante will want to work on.
It looks like Tessa has Mark Ferrante down on the field.
So we'll send it down to Tessa, who is with the Villanova skipper. Well, I think we're having some technical difficulties with Tessa's microphone down at field level. A couple of penalties, though, as we said, for Villanova, 9 of them. Mark Ferrante, not going to put words in his mouth, but can possibly be happy about that.
I don't want to speak for the coach, but I do speak to him a lot during the week, and I think he's going to be happy with some things and some things he's not going to be happy. One is going to be the penalties. That's going to be something he wants to clean up this week. But I'm sure he's going to be proud of his guys for the thought they put up today. Maybe Tessa's got an opportunity to get that mic working.
Okay, Coach. A win on homecoming. Your defense held UNH to 6 points. These linebackers, Shane Hartzell, 20 tackles, Brendan Bell, 9. How are they able to be the difference makers tonight?
They'll be the first ones to tell you. It's the guys up front that do their job to keep the linemen from climbing up to the 2nd level. And then they're good players. They study a lot of film. They anticipate what's happening. They react once the ball is snapped. And they are good enough athletically and strong enough to get there and make those plays. So real proud of our defense. Holding that team to 3 points is something special. The goal line stands we had are really special, and a good bounce back win for us after last week.
And then this secondary, you said a lot of goal line stands and made big stops in the red zone. How has their veteran experience made them so successful tonight?
Yeah, that's what it is, right? I said this a couple weeks ago. When you look at this starting defense, depending on who we start, we might have Capri Martin start one game as a sophomore, but we have an opportunity to start 11 guys, with Hartzell being the youngest as a 4th-year senior. The rest of them are 5th-year and 6th-year guys, so you cannot substitute for that level of experience, and it showed today.
Thank you, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, Tessa.
Awesome stuff, Tessa. A big-time victory for Villanova, led by their players who made the most difference. And Shane Hartzell, as we said, those 20 tackles stand out. Jalen Goodman was really solid as well with that big tackle for loss.
Yeah, he really was. And don't forget, like Ethan Potter with a big play down at the goal line. We talked about Ice Waxter making a goal line play. So it wasn't just the linebackers. Those secondaries came up. A lot of times, they say those guys don't like to tackle. Well, Jalen Goodman picked up 9 of them tonight.
Big-time performance by this entire Villanova defense. The linebacker core, the secondary, was able to do enough. And as Ferrante said, there was the players up front, and as Shane Hartzell alluded to as well, the players up front helping to pave the way for Villanova. Take a look at some of the big plays of the day as we get into our final highlights here on the Villanova Sports Network post-game show after this 14-6 victory for Villanova. It was all started on that 3-and-out for Villanova. Then the teams traded turnovers. Brendan Bell with a big play. And Villanova was set up with a short field, but they couldn't convert.
Yeah, and then Wildcats gave the ball right back to him. In a 3rd down play, Watkins gets out of the pocket, but he ends up getting stripped, and there's a big fumble. And New Hampshire, escapes the trouble there with the turnover.
Both teams had the opportunity to put the game away early. Touchdown for Villanova in the 2nd quarter. Connor Watkins to Lucas Kopecky.
Yeah, really well thrown ball, and a good catch by Kopecky, who's pretty well defended, but a nice job by Kopecky to just kind of get his hands up, high point the ball, and secure it all the way to the ground.
And then came the opportunities on the goal line for UNH that they just could not convert on. Klein Peter with a couple of chances.
Yeah, Goodman there, and then it's Hartzell again. And this was a big play here. Watkins just gets ripped right out after Wildcats got a missed field goal opportunity. Thought they had the momentum going there, and there's a good job by the secondary of New Hampshire to rip that ball free, and then the Wildcats needed to come up with another stop.
Duncan Moreland with a huge play that UNH couldn't convert on offensively, and then one more time inside the 5. We said this is where the game was won or lost. Ice Waxter with a huge tackle.
He came up and made a play. He came off his man defensively and then made a play. And here's Watkins with a nice run to get it out to midfield. This was part of a 99-yard drive after the Wildcats made that goal line stand. The game was 7-3, and this is a beautiful throw and catch. Watch the one-handed grab by Smith, gets the foot down and holds on to the football. Outstanding play.
A couple of looks at what was the defining play of this contest that really put things out of reach for Villanova. Devin Smith, that pass was just in reach with a one-handed grab, and then the defense really just kept on
that was one
digging
of
for
Brendan
Villanova.
Bell's 4.5 tackles for loss in this game. He was in the backfield more than he was playing linebacker.
He had been busy all afternoon long, all season long. Villanova's leading tackler entering play today. A big-time victory for Villanova as they move on next to Hampton. Take a look at what is next on the docket for Villanova. It is always a difficult test in the CAA, and of course that battle of the blue to end the regular season.
Yeah, Hampton's a good offensive team. The Wildcat defense will be challenged next week by this Hampton team. It's been one of the surprises in the CAA. North Carolina team's been struggling. They come back here, and then the Mama team, a high-scoring offense that Towson, I believe, was able to shut down today. That's an interesting matchup. And then, as Ben mentioned, the ultimate game of the year, usually every year, Villanova, Delaware. This year, the Wildcats have them at home.
That will just about do it for this one.